Good morning, everyone. I show the date, October 26th. I'm opening the Village Council Work Session meeting. I see we have a full quorum today, so no need to go into allowing remote participation. So we'll need an adoption of the agenda before we do that. Do we have any changes?
Yes, please. I would like to move from new business to consent agenda. Number 4, the Blue Ridge Trail Works, waiving the 2-quote requirement and consider entering into a contract with Blue Ridge Trail Works for the construction of the preserved Marvin Creek Connector Trail not to exceed $27,000 and allow the manager to execute the contract. I would like to move number 8 under new business to number 2 consent. Discuss and consider entering agreement with Sunshine Construction for the Marvin Eford Park repairs and installation of Village Hall weather vane at a cost not to exceed $8,500 with a 10% contingency, and direct staff to prepare a budget amendment from fund balance. I would like to move number 2 from new, number 9 from new business to number 3 consent agenda. Discuss and consider adoption of amended personnel policy to include performance management system and merit pay policy.
And these changes have already been made in your system.
Okay, because I was looking for number 8 and didn't see it, so thank you.
And I need to add under unfinished business number 3, discuss and consider appropriating $1,500 to fund the Island Old Meadowlark Lane plantings.
Okay.
That's
and then
it.
Wasn't there anything about some officers we were going to consider? It's under where?
Manager's report.
Oh, okay. So as long as we're talking about it. All right. That said, any other changes? I need a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have adoption of the previous minutes.
I have no changes.
Anyone else? Comments?
No changes.
Okay. That said, I'll need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up, we have presentations. We don't have any today, but we have going on to reports and updates. Manager's report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Had a couple of things I wanted to go over with you real fast. At the last PRG meeting, there was a recommendation to start a bamboo removal project in Marvin Eford Park. Just wanted to make you guys aware of it. It's definitely not something that we budgeted. It's going to take about a 2-day work from our employees and then around $1,000 in equipment rental. So just wanted to make you all aware before we started on that project, since we are expending some staff resources that you were not otherwise aware of. Does anybody have any comments or questions about that?
It's invasive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with it, but I would not place that as a priority. If Public Works has other priorities that they need to do, I would push it out. It could be a good winter project when things are slow. I wouldn't prioritize it right now. You got a lot of stuff going on, so use your best judgment on that, but that would be my recommendation.
I know where you can get some help. All the kids get that put aside. You can maybe destroy this bamboo if you want to. Every kid goes out there wants to take these home.
Yeah. Well, so we'll probably, just so you all are aware, we'll probably have to come back and do a budget amendment because we don't have the equipment rental in our line item for that. So just making you aware, but
They'd have to uproot them, or they just cut them? Uproot them?
If you cut them, they're just going to come back. They get the whole root.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a process.
the next thing I wanted to mention to you,
Sorry, Christina, what? Sorry.
the roundabout irrigation and lighting at the newly installed roundabout at Newtown and Marvin Road, we should see the lights being put up probably next week or the following week. So everything's a go on that. And then the irrigation, we are not obviously going to be able to irrigate and put an irrigation tap in, a meter in, until the water line is extended. So we're going to, in the interim, we're going to go out with a water truck that we have on hand and just do it weekly until things are established, or until that line is put in.
Which side is that on, just out of curiosity? The water line? Meadowlark side, okay. So we'll just tap into that, and, or are we doing a separate well, or just a meter?
We're just
meter
gonna
thing?
use county
Okay,
water for that one.
good,
And
okay.
we'll have to
Since
come
this is a
back,
project.
we'll have to come back to you all for that, because we didn't budget for that meter tap.
Okay.
It's probably going to be around the $5,000 range, but we're still doing some work on that.
There's other things to consider there too as we go forward with that, because that's on village property side. So, there may be some other things that we want to do over there in the future and other developments, so we'll have to look into that. It may be, I mean, at $5,000 to tap it and then pay for it, it may be, as things develop, it may be beneficial for us to put a well over there, but that's something we might have to look at as we, nail down what we're gonna do over there.
Okay.
One of the things I wanted to mention to you all is we had a request this week for some off-duty assistance with,
Can I back up real quick? I'm sorry. The, since we're talking about roundabout lighting, can we make sure, and I guess irrigation, can we make sure that the new roundabout at Bonds Grove and Waxaw Marvin have the lights, have the easements for the lights, and have sleeves for irrigation? Because I'm sure we're gonna wanna make that one look pretty down there too.
Yeah,
And nobody else is gonna make it look pretty, so.
And we did a little oof on this one where they put the sleeves going the wrong direction, so I'd like to look over their plans before they actually install them so that we know that they're going in the right direction.
Oh, for the love of God, okay.
Yeah.
all right, I got sleeves, lights, and lighting plan.
Yeah,
You can
and
tell
just
me
whatever
later
easements we
how it
need
went
for
wrong
the
direction.
lights.
Sleeve for
And hopefully by
electrical.
that point, it will be a standard of DOTs to have roundabouts lit up, and it won't be such a process to get it done. But if we
Still
can,
a couple years out, we should be able to plan for it.
well, we planned for this one, and we still don't have the lights up yet, so, I mean,
Point.
Yeah.
well, no, I mean, we planned for this one 2 years ago.
Yeah, the lights, they have to wait until they actually get out and seed, and they literally just started seeding last week, so they really haven't had the opportunity to get in there and get it done until DOT gets out.
Okay.
So they're still on projection to do it as soon as they possibly can, so
Okay.
we haven't lost any time.
Okay.
All right, sleeves, lights, easements for
Yep.
the
I
lights.
just want to make sure we've got that on the list, telling DOT, making sure it's in the contract and whatever.
Did you guys want to go ahead and establish the pedestrian kind of
Yes,
cutouts?
and that too, because we are gonna have sidewalks down there if we don't already have them by the time it's built. So yes, I would like to go ahead and do that the way that they did them down here, because it's really nice.
Okay, moving on to the Waxhaw Marvin Viking off-duty coverage. So we had, to back up just a second, we had a request to provide some off-duty coverage at Gray Byram and, is it Waxhaw Marvin? Yeah. And when we looked into that, Gray Byram, the entire section of, half of it's in Waxhaw and then half of it's unincorporated Union County. So we had told the requestee to contact Waxhaw to see if they would help at that intersection, because it was primarily their intersection. In fact, the entire road of Gray Byram is Waxhaw. I don't think Waxhaw was willing to help in that request, so unfortunately, we can't expend our public dollars on a road that's not ours. So the requestee has now asked for us to go back to the next road down that was in the village, which was Viking. With all the traffic increase that's happened with the detour from Providence and the closure at Bonds Grove, a lot of the traffic is coming through that area, so they just don't feel comfortable being able to get out of their neighborhood in the on Viking Drive. I will say I did contact DOT and ask them some questions. There's a railroad project that's starting on 10/31 and should take roughly a week to complete. but the Bonds Grove intersection should be complete before that project starts, unless there's just some unanticipated issue that happens. So
Is there currently traffic backed up now?
I believe there is currently now, yes. I have not seen it for myself, so I can't tell you for sure.
There's not like nearly the volume on Bonds Grove that there is on Waxhaw Marvin normally, so I can't see where there's that much increase in volume. And my other question was, what does the railroad project have to do with traffic on Waxhaw Marvin? That's up in Waxhaw.
Apparently, people are gonna cut through their neighborhood to make it easier because Bonds Grove is closed. I don't know.
I think it's just,
for the
It's only gonna be closed another week.
Right, so by the time we get the off-duty officers lined up, it'll be done,
Yeah.
so. And again, when we had this intersection closed here, we did not put officers on either corner of Joe Carr. We allowed DOT to handle that however they saw fit, so I kind of feel like that's the same thing.
Yeah, it's
Especially
a lot
for,
lesser impact.
especially for a week.
Yeah.
and I did advise the requestee that that probably would be the case, but I told him I would ask. I did want to, so everyone's of the consensus, we're not going to provide off-duty at Viking and Waxhaw Marvin?
No.
Everybody good on that? Okay,
Just because of
the duration
for what
and,
Kim's saying, but this is gonna be over within a week or so, right?
By the time we get with the sheriff's department, they get it in their system, they do it, it'll be the middle of next week and it's gonna be finished. Like,
Yeah.
and again, we didn't do it for Joe Carr. I know people think that we don't do stuff for the other side of the village, but we didn't do anything over here when they closed this. So, I mean, and that was closed for 52 days. So this is gonna be closed for 5.
Yeah.
okay, so the next thing I wanted to mention to you all with this is, we had briefly talked about this at Town Hall, but the Waxhaw Marvin Bonds Grove intersection that we're waiting to have that roundabout installed in 2 or 3 years. There was some discussion about that. I don't know if y'all want to have any off-duty discussion here today, if you want to put it on another agenda. I have reached out to DOT and Bjorn, as well as Union County Sheriff's Department, to find some answers for discussion. DOT is looking at some interim solutions to see what, if anything, they can provide between now and 2026, when the construction should start. He should get back to me momentarily about that. The same thing with Bjorn. He had requested an interim traffic light to be installed at that intersection. He hasn't heard anything back from DOT. He's going to follow back up with that as well. As far as off-duty coverage, it is an intersection that would require 2 officers, 3-hour minimum. Crunch the numbers, it's going to be about $55,000 a year if y'all wanted to do that. I will say, just as a reminder, it is, I know you said this, Mayor Pro Tem, at the Town Hall, that it is a voluntary program, so we can't 100% guarantee people are going to be there at every single, time that we've got allotted. It's if they sign up, they sign up. We had issues at Newtown, where we had people showing up sometimes and people not showing up other times. The time of when shift changes, like I think shift changes at 7 o'clock in the morning. You're more likely to get coverage if you do it right at shift change than in the middle of a shift change, just because you have more officers.
Well,
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, I think that's when they wanted it, so I think we would probably have 7 to 9, so we would do like 7 to 10. But I'm concerned, and we've talked about this, Christina, that if we fix the solution at that corner with off-duty officers, it's gonna push the priority of that intersection and the roundabout being done down the list, which is why I asked Christina to reach out to DOT, to Bjorn, and to the, well, Bjorn's the county, to see if they had any suggestions and if they had any maybe insight that regardless of if we put officers there, it was still gonna get done in 26 because of the Providence Road expansion. So I think we need to gather some additional information before we can make a decision, but I would, and I hate to not put somebody there, but I also don't want that intersection to get delayed because we fixed the problem for them and we're paying for it.
I did-
agree with that, but here's the thing, and this is what I got after I had a little conversation with Tommy after the meeting the other night. And he explained to me that the accident count at that intersection is much lower than the one at Marvin and Newtown was. So it's not as frequent and as bad of accidents as we had over here. So I don't know how much impact.
So it's just more of a convenience factor?
I think it may be, and and so, given that, I would like to look at the numbers to know for sure on that and see if it is actually an impact on safety. It is a bad intersection, there's no doubt. It is scary to get out of there, especially during high traffic times, because people that stay on Waxhaw Marvin come flying over that corner, and most people don't know what a turn signal is. So you don't know which way they're going, so it's difficult to get out of there. And there's lines of 15 to 20 cars at a time, so trying to go stay on Waxhaw Marvin Road is a nightmare. But if DOT is willing to work with us on this, and if a traffic light in the interim is a good solution, myself, I would prefer to throw some of that $55,000 a year towards a traffic light that's going to be there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, versus off-duty sheriff's deputies that are hit and miss and only 3 hours a day. If that helps.
So how about a flashing red light so that you would alternate vehicles?
Three-way stop.
Three-way stop.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, is that even if it's 3 stop signs.
That would be safer, but it would really congest traffic
You know
during
what?
traffic.
I'm getting so tired of this darn congestion that, it gets to a point where move to Montana, okay? I mean, we have got way too much traffic everywhere. And to spend and throw a lot of money at what we're trying to do is control traffic, that we are a cut-through. My personal feeling is if we put 3 stop signs where, I wanted it where the new roundabout is, and have people go another way, have them go down Providence to get to where they need to be. Traffic is all over the place. And we're trying to fix things that we have no control of at this point. I mean, it's just that we're trying to, we have 3 roundabouts. But I think my answer to what Joe just said, I totally agree that maybe just stopping, an alternate stopping 3-way, or just put 3 stop signs there until the roundabout gets there.
That would be the least expensive fix that would continue traffic to flow where most people would need to stop. Three-way stop is going to be your.
So I'll just mention real fast that we can request that from DOT, but they're gonna provide whatever mechanism they think is appropriate. So we can let them go back and do their analysis and see what they come back with. I'll ask them about the 3-way stop and see what they say. I did ask Sean if us putting off-duty coverage there would, if it statistically reduced some of the traffic accidents, if that would make any impact in delaying the project since there's less accidents. He said no. He said the project's already funded. It shouldn't have any impact on it.
Yeah, it's already been designated as a critical intersection, and at the CRTPO meeting, because there's that one, and there were 3 more intersections that were critical intersections that were in Waxhaw and here that were kind of bunched together, and that's how we got to move it up from, because there was a date out, and then we petitioned the group and moved that one up. So I still think there's another chance to working with Ron and some other people at CRTPO to potentially move it up more, and in the interim, try to find a solution for that intersection right now, in the near term, so.
Just to be clear, and here's my concern from doing and it's for anyone listening out there, it's not that I'm against putting officers there, but I feel that it was very successful, but that was in the evening. Doing an early morning is, on a voluntary basis, you may not, you're going to be hit and miss, whereas a stop sign is going to be for everyone to adhere to, and it's going to be daily.
I did text Tommy just now and confirm that it was 7 o'clock. It's actually not 7, it's 4:30 a.m. So you're basically asking officers to get off on their normal job at 4:30, go home, wait a couple hours, and then come back for a 3-hour shift where they would get off at 10 and then have to go to sleep, come home, get back up to be back at work at 4:30. So the likelihood of us having issues, having volunteers to fund or to utilize that off-duty is probably very high due to just the shift.
I think we have to concentrate on finding other, and I think it's a good time to partner with Waxhaw on this, because here's the thing, that intersection is at a point where those aren't Marvin residents. I can argue that all day.
Well, and that's,
Let's say maybe 10% of those are Marvin residents, and I think that's a very high number. So it's for us to then petition and work with Waxhaw to go, and I'll put my thumb down on Ron
And the county.
and the county.
So, and maybe we'll have a little bit better reception from the county now.
Well, but again, if you look at where that intersection's at, we have a strong argument to say, listen, those aren't, we're not taking care of Marvin residents there. We're taking care of Mineral Springs and we're taking care of Waxhaw. We did here, but there was an argument because there was a good mix of Marvin, but now we're not. So maybe there's a way that we can come up with a solution together because it's so close to that Waxhaw line and there's the population of people going through.
And if we bring Waxhaw in along with the county and present that to DOT and say, look, the quick fix right now is stop signs, so can you help us with that until we can get the roundabout finished?
you're gonna have a mess with stop signs, Joe. It's gonna cause accidents at Crane Road at the light because it's gonna back up traffic so far. I would.
Crane
be-
Road?
Yeah. In the afternoon, it'll back up, those stops, if it's a 3-way stop, it'll back up traffic past Crane Road in the afternoons.
Give a reason not to come that way then.
It's just, I can tell you this right now, I've seen an increase in traffic since they completed the roundabout, because it's easier to get through and people are coming this way. And I would be curious to see what the traffic count is at this point, but I would venture a guess that we're probably closing in on 20,000 cars a day on Waxhaw Marvin.
Well, that's.
You put a stop sign in the middle of it,
that
and that's
gives
gonna
us-
create chaos.
That gives us a stronger argument to do everything we can to turn that into a 5-mile-an-hour zone from roundabout to roundabout. And you want to see people find a different way and count go down? And
agree
you know
with
what?
that,
Unfortunately, there are people that close by to Village Hall that believe that just because you decrease the speed limit, that it won't change the pattern. And I think that is insane.
So I think there's a consensus not to fund off-duty, at least at this point in time.
Let's get some
Okay.
more information. I hate making decisions without all the information. So let's continue to gather information. Let's see what Bjorn can get from DOT. Let's see what we can do with DOT. Let's reach out to Waxhaw. Let's reach back out to the county too.
You guys want me to reach out? I know, I've done that before, and they said no, so I don't know if y'all want to
Well,
put any political pressure.
we've had a change in people there, so let's reach back out and ask again. I don't mind being told no again. What I mind is not asking, and there have been a possibility that they might have said yes. And again, I'd much rather be able to come back and be like, hey, the county said no. That's a lot of county places. We've asked the county, go talk to the county. Here are your county commissioners, go call them.
Or again, it's DOT roads, so have them, ask them that if you're gonna say no to us, then what is your solution? I mean,
Yeah, what's the best solution?
I mean,
for the-
they're the experts, not us, but we just see the results of what we choose to do, and,
Just a side comment about traffic. Yesterday, I had to do an errand at 5:15, and I had to go to Johnston Road, and I took Community House. I kind of turned by the State Employee Credit Union and then worked my way on Lancaster and then to community house. Do you know people coming home? When I hit Lancaster and Community House Road, just pretty much at that last light before you reach Ardwick Hill, it was backed up to Johnston Road. It was absolutely bumper to bumper to bumper. I felt so sorry for those people coming home. This is just a reality. This is ridiculous.
Well, they're all coming through Marvin.
Yes, yeah, well, they would, I
see
looked
them
at all those cars
way
coming from,
As they go by.
this, the traffic situation, people are moving to Charlotte and they're moving to this area. And by the way, South Carolina used to be a respite. It's not anymore. That Johnston Road gets backed up all the way to Sun City. I'm sitting there
On the news last night, they talked about apartments. There are 6,000 currently being built and 9,000 to be added to the Charlotte area. So it's happening. We're one of the biggest draws in the country, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. It's growing problems. We're doing the best we can, but I agree with Kim that let's get a little more information on it, but let's probably push the screws with DOT. If they're going to say no, then what's their answer?
Okay. We have our direction.
All right.
The last thing I wanted to talk about, or allow you all to talk about, is the scheduling of the Holiday Appreciation Dinner. Usually we do that every year with staff and board members. Wanted y'all to just kind of ponder a date, location.
At Kim's house,
My
right?
house.
We're doing it again at your house?
We can do it again at my house. Wow. My Christmas lights are already up. They're not on yet, but they're up on the outside of the house.
I don't even have
saw
my
that look.
Halloween decorations.
Oh, my gosh.
Not until after Halloween, Kim.
Oh, my gosh.
No, I'll turn them on. I'll turn them on November 1st.
All right, so it's just about a day,
Poor
then
Jason.
we're gonna look for.
Poor Jason.
Correct.
Jason loves that stuff.
Do you have a recommendation?
I do not. I would venture to,
Oh, we'll just tell Kim when we wanna do the party there. She doesn't get this. No, kidding, Kim. What's a good day for you, Kim? Busy. Busy.
Let's see here.
We wanna do it Thursday night, Friday night, school night?
Oh, it's got to be a school. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, it's gotta be.
it's got to be a school night.
It's gotta be a school night, so everyone has to go home, so she can
Are
have her
you-
house.
Are you guys doing the staff lunch on the 14th?
we are.
So we probably don't want to do it that night.
That's a lot for one day.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I have load band trailer too.
The 7th? Do you, okay. I'm out of town for a conference. Okay,
I think you got slated the last time because you had somewhere to be too. Or we had to
I'm
move some
out of
stuff
town that
around
day
or
too,
something.
unfortunately. for
okay,
some
well,
reason.
okay, that's fine then. So, not a Thursday night?
I'm open to Thursday.
Well, no,
Yeah,
there's
I
only
think
2 Thursdays and nobody can do this.
14th looks like a
No,
good day.
What about the 21st?
I'm out of town.
Okay.
Can't do it at my house if I'm not there.
Key, can't you?
No,
How about Monday, the 18th?
nope, I'm out of town.
Does staff oppose the 14th? Because I'm fine with the
How about
14th.
13th?
Let's do the 14th then. If staff's not opposed, Austin, you might have to take a nap in the afternoon, but you'll be okay.
Party day, the whole day.
Just pace yourself.
Yeah.
I'll have to drag out my secret village hall bed. No one knows about.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Dress as the elf, though, it's the rule.
Okay, so y'all are good with,
So the 14th?
Yeah.
what time?
7? 6:30?
6:30.
2:30 right after the lunch? We can just keep
Just
it
on
going?
all day.
6:30, Kim's house on December 14th.
And what time?
6:30? That's fine. We'll make sure the boards are invited. Should we invite maybe the wayfinding board as a thank you for that?
We can.
6:30?
Any direction on cuisine?
What did we have last year? Barbecue?
We did a catering company that they did like a barbecue style dinner.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
We can figure that out, but everybody got that date in their calendar. We'll send calendar invites and invite the boards and commissions, and that's all I have in manager's report.
Yeah, make sure you tell your spouses, your significant others, your plus ones. No, okay, or not, or not. And then that's it.
We're loading the band trailer that day, Asha, right? The trailer for the.
Not the 14th, no.
Oh,
The band trailer will be well loaded like the 6th. Or, no, I'm gonna call you. It's gonna be the week, we'll probably load the 29th, and we'll probably load the 5th. I don't know what you.
I don't know why that's maybe something.
Is that
Oh, you know
For the
what?
actual band?
No, that's.
For you?
For me, at the high school, I'm moving over to the middle school to do presentations. That's what it is. Okay. Now I'm getting it, I remember.
Pay picking hard. It's all right.
It's just during the day, so it doesn't affect.
Okay, so we're good?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else? Christina?
That's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Moving on, clerk and communications report.
So you've got your normal list here for the month, opening up on my screen. Marvin on the Move. There is a Marvin on the Move this morning. We are here, though. We have a long story about Denise. Marvin on the Move, candidate questionnaire interviews, those posts will still run through Election Day, as well as the early voting information. Bruin Q posts are still ongoing. We're starting Council with Kids posts, as that's coming up at the end of November. Starting Friendship Tree promotions, tree lighting. And it's just the normal stuff, coffee with council, daylight savings time, some school closures, village hall closures.
Okay, I've got a couple of questions. It really doesn't have to do with the calendar, but it's on the calendar, so I feel like I'm gonna ask it. Have we had any competitors sign up yet? Okay, that is unfortunate. Okay, the Council with Kids, that is on a night that we are gonna be collecting and wrapping gifts. So, how many kids did we have last year? Like 7, 5?
It was between like 7 and 10 or something like that.
Okay.
3 of them are our kids.
Yes.
So those don't count.
Okay, so I'm thinking that maybe we can do that in the closed session room, because we're gonna have tables and stuff set up in here wrapping, so I'm hoping that maybe we can do it in the closed session room. I'll be here anyway wrapping, so I'll just step in, do that, and then come back in here and finish. But that's kind of what I was thinking, we could do it
We can do that.
in there, okay?
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay, and then, okay, so I'm gonna pop down to signage.
Okay.
Okay, so I would like, for whenever we have big events that we're trying to advertise, tree lighting, trick or treat, town halls, barbecue, I know we're probably gonna try to wait to see if we get any competitors before we have a sign
I think
made
that
for that.
Tyler's drop date is the 9th.
So we should have time to get a sign? Probably not.
I have time.
Okay, so we'll skip that one because I know that that one's a little different. But for most of these, I would like to have big banners made. Two-sided banners, if we can't do two-sided banners, then at least get 2 banners each way. So like up here, we've got them so you can kind of see them both directions for trick or treat. We did the same thing down at the intersection at Crane, but like for the town hall that was in Andy's yard, it was parallel to the street. So unless you turned and looked as you were driving by it, you couldn't see it. So we need them so that you can see it from both directions, so perpendicular to the road. So I would probably, for each event, probably get 6 signs.
We can do that.
And I wouldn't even ask anymore. If we know we're doing them, you know the dates of them, get them, and I'd like them out at least 2 weeks before the events.
We can absolutely do that. Do you have size preferences? We haven't.
The trick or treat size is perfect.
Those are 4 by 8.
Okay, I like that
We
size.
didn't really budget for banners, so that's something we would have to come back and do probably a budget amendment for.
That's fine. We got some unassigned fund balance we can use.
But typically, if you all want a banner for anything that we don't already have planned,
Yeah.
that's gonna be like a 2 to 3 week turnaround, because we design it, we have to order it, has to be shipped. We
That's
usually
fine.
do expedite it, but then once we get it, it goes out pretty quick.
Totally fine. We should know for the next, however, like for the next year, we should have, we're gonna know when the Easter egg date is, we're gonna know when Marvin Day is. Obviously, we're gonna do more for Marvin Day. We're gonna know when National Night Out is, we're gonna know when the tree lighting, the trick or treat, our town halls, like, we're gonna know when all those dates are. So if we can just, as you're looking through the calendar, like, look 2 months ahead, do we have any big dates? Go ahead and get them ordered, and I would like them out at least like 2 weeks before.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna throw this out there, just, while we're talking about this. If we wanna put 2 4x4 posts with eyelets on them permanently in my rental property next door, and put a little mulch around it so it's easy to maintain, we can keep that as a permanent site for putting out banners for all the village activities.
Perfect, thank you, Andy.
And that way, because it's on the main thoroughfare, everybody sees it, so
Yep.
might as well
Yeah.
just do it.
So I would like them at Village Hall in front of Andy's house, not Andy's, the ice cream place.
Andy's adjacent house.
Andy's house adjacent. I think the corner at Crane is great, and then in front of the park. If the event's at the park,
So you want 3 or 4 locations?
4 locations.
4 locations, we can do that. Staff will get together, we'll
Crane
set
and
up, we'll
Wax
set up a
Marvin at the
process
school.
for designing the banner so we can get them ahead of time.
Yeah,
For the events coming up, we have plenty of time to get them for tree lighting. I think we may still have the one we used for the Friendship Tree last year as a placeholder, but we can try to get one ordered next week and try to have it here
Perfect.
within the next week or so.
yeah, I mean, it runs through the month, so we'll have enough time to get it.
And I frankly don't think we're gonna have any issues with the Friendship Tree. It was
No,
very-
I don't either. But we need to start advertising now that we're gonna have it up, because you guys are gonna hang the tag, the tags will be on by the 1st.
And the social media posts for the Friendship Tree, they're already done,
Perfect.
scheduled for the entire month, so we're
Good.
good to go on that too.
Is there any objection on the banners to us getting a general banner and then every year just kind of stickering on the change of
I'm
date?
fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm
Okay.
totally fine with that.
if that saves us money in the
Okay.
budget, that's totally fine.
So,
Fine with that. I think we should have 5 locations. If there is a park if the event's at the park, we should also put one on Providence and Newtown, so we get the other side of the village.
So 5 locations, Village Hall.
Yeah,
Andy's adjacent house,
yep.
Got a pocket park we can use.
We'll put it at the pocket park, right on the street. Perfect.
Pocket Park.
At
You
Publix.
said Marvin Eford entrance, Crane and Newtown,
No, Crane and Newtown, Crane and Waxaw Marvin.
Crane and Waxaw Marvin.
Yep.
On which property does,
Right now, it's on the corner of the school, and they haven't seemed to have an issue with it. There's a trick or treat sign there.
and anywhere, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, 5.
Wow,
You're
okay,
there?
good, yeah. And whenever we put them in, can we make sure they're nice and straight so they can read them? Because right now, the one at the school is like this, and you can't see what it is.
They have to
I
really-
would-
they have to be really tall.
I was just gonna say, we might need to have Davies' team, like, once a week, drive around and look at all those banners, because when the rain hits, they crumble, and then
Yeah.
you can't read them.
Because the one currently at Crane Road's
I
like,
saw that. Just a quick note about the Friendship Tree. Our target is to still have the tags on the tree by November 1, but there's a possible delay.
do we not have the names?
I just got him, actually. Like, his program was down, so like nobody got him, but I just got him.
Okay,
One,
hot dog, okay.
2 more things on communications.
And thank you guys for being amenable to doing all of that.
That's fine. A couple more things on communications. For anything that is there any events that you guys want solo emails to go out about? I want to plan those ahead of time and space those out.
All big events should have a singular email that goes out. Is that what you just asked me?
Which ones? Sorry.
All of them. So like Friendship Tree should have one. Tree lighting should have one.
If we're gonna
Easter
put-
egg hunt should have one. Marvin Day
So
should have one.
basically, if we're gonna put a banner out, there
If we're
should be
putting a banner out,
singular email
A
to
singular
accompany
email
it.
should go out.
I'll work on like kind of figuring out how to space them out the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can do
And,
that.
and especially things like town hall, like where we want people to come to every event, but things that we are really pushing, like, needs to go out fairly frequently, but especially right as you're coming up to the event, like if it's on a Tuesday, like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, do one every day. I know it may annoy people, but I'd much rather have people annoyed and come and know about it, and they can't say, well, we didn't know about it.
So while I'm thinking about this, so if we're gonna do like a permanent post in my yard, can we do a permanent post like out in front of Village Hall somewhere on our property that does the banners so that they just go out there and stick the banner on it? Like some permanent signage, because we always have something, like we advertise for Coffee with Council every 2 weeks, we advertise for these events. Can we do something like a permanent fixture that's gonna look nice that can
Maybe.
be used
Okay.
over and over? Yeah.
Just so I can plan this out a little better when we have multiple events going on. So for events in general, weekly, but when we have civic events like town halls or anything that we're really trying to get people focused on.
Geobond, Town Hall,
Stuff
that,
like
we
that.
definitely want a banner for that one.
Yeah, we can do a banner for that, and we'll use the referendum logo.
Yeah.
But for like civic events, we'll do those more often, starting weekly, and then as we get closer, every 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, that's good. And then, yeah, let's get a Coffee with Council banner made instead of using that little
We're working on it.
chintzy one.
It's, so right now,
Run over.
myself and Ptolemy are working on our transition since we're moving away from our consultant. to
Good.
Bringing everything back in-house.
Great.
So that is on our list to do, a Coffee with Council. We're gonna do a replacement sign, something that's like more sturdy, that's not gonna be affected by weather. But that's on our list.
Okay. Well, if we put in a permanent structure and we don't have another event going on, we could always just put a banner up, like
Real quick, I just wanted Hunter to comment on that, because it would have to meet our sign ordinance if it's permanent.
we're fine. Nope, we're not okay? Yes,
Not for it to-
and no.
Not for it to be like permanent. Like you can put a permanent structure per se, like if you put up like beams or whatever you guys are talking about, that's fine. But the banner itself cannot remain up more than, it's like 30 days prior to the event and 10
Yeah,
days
that's
after.
fine.
Yeah, that's what we're just,
That's
that's
fine.
what
2 weeks.
we're
As long
saying,
as
as long
I'm
as just have
swapping
a
it out, it
permanent
doesn't matter, right?
post to hang it on.
Posts are fine, yeah.
As long as I'm swapping out the topic, it's okay, right?
Yeah, but when there's not an event, what are you putting up?
Nothing? Or, we'll always have Coffee with Council twice a month, so we'll have Coffee with Council banners up.
Is our current,
Then you'll be fine.
is our current, is our current signpost out front for Coffee with Council good to swap something in and out, or do you want something much larger?
I mean, I would like a big banner that has our nice Coffee with Council logo on it when we don't have something else going on. You can get a smaller, more sturdy one if that's what you and Ptolemy were looking to do. So when we do have other events, we can still stick that one in there. But when we don't have anything else going on, which hopefully we have something going on, but if we don't, then put up those nice ones.
We'll work on that. You're running out of Coffee with Council events for the year, so my goal would be probably to have something in place as you go into next year.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Also, the emails you're gonna send out about other events, can you send out the day before and the day of Coffee with Council?
What?
Well-
Emails.
When we have a Coffee with Council event, send it the day before, hey, remember Coffee with Council tomorrow, and then the day of, hey, Coffee with Council today.
Okay, I can.
Is that what you meant?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just don't want to get in a situation where I'm sending 3 or 4 emails in one day because events are building up. That's the only thing I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah. Well, if we don't have anything else going on. And typically, we're not gonna have anything going on right around Coffee with Council because
That's a Tuesday and a Thursday, so typically those are not
that's the only thing we
days
have
that
then.
we do events.
Two questions I have.
Nope.
The council, Coffee with Council, or maybe Kool-Aid with kids or something like that, so.
It's hot chocolate.
It's hot chocolate, okay, hot chocolate, that's good.
Y'all do
Okay,
apple
so
juice
there are
too.
gonna be treats and drinks there.
Last year, we did Publix
Cookies.
cookies, juice
Okay.
boxes.
Because, believe it or not, a lot of the band kids are asking when they can come and sit in and stuff, so I'm about to press send that come get some coffee, so we may get a lot of high school kids.
Okay, well,
Good.
if that's the case, then we can shift, we may have to do it on the fly and shift from us doing the wrapping in here and go to the back.
I can probably get a head count of
We
who's
can
gonna make
fit
it.
approximately between y'all and the attendees and staff, we can fit around 20 people in that room back there, so.
That might-
Okay. I doubt we're gonna get more than 20.
I mean,
I
this
can,
already,
I can stand up, like, it's not that big of a deal, like, if everybody,
that,
And we can pull in more chairs too, so not a big deal.
okay. I do think it would be better to, because we're gonna have tables and stuff set up in here to be wrapping, and it would be easier to not disrupt that.
The last thing I was gonna say on communications, if you guys want something to go into an additional publication, let us know, because I'm not always aware of what's out there. So if you guys know of a specific newspaper that you want Marvin Day to go into, or if you want something shared through a group online, you just need to let us know so we can plan ahead for that.
Okay, speaking of which, and this may cross the line between when the election, but I understand we have a date set to have a meet and greet here.
Yes, thank you
Since
for-
everyone is participating, all the candidates that have gone through the Board of Elections and are on the ballot, my understanding is everyone's participating in, sharing the cost of renting the facility. Can we put that out, or is that crossing the
So
line?
that's something that you guys will have to decide. You normally don't promote any kind of rental events. I'm totally fine with promoting it. My only thing I would request is that we put a disclaimer on it that the event is not hosted by the village, and that it is hosted by the candidates, and the candidates have paid for the space.
That is a very fine line. Y'all should really
I don't
consider.
love that.
I don't,
Okay.
I don't love it
I'm
either.
That's why I've
asking
said a
because,
disclaimer.
only because everyone had agreed to it that's on the ballot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then if someone gets sick and doesn't
I just-
participate, you're
yeah.
kind of influencing a
Well,
vote, so.
then it'll be our own word of mouth thing.
Yeah.
And we'll leave it at that.
Yes.
I believe that's probably why the Business Association in Waxhaw hosted theirs, so that it's completely away from the,
Yeah.
the
Well,
yeah.
government part of it.
One tip that I would recommend is reach out to the Union County Chamber of Commerce. They may be willing to do a promotion, and that way you're not having to promote through the village.
Now, what's the date on that?
November 1st, 7 o'clock here.
Any questions about communications beyond?
No, but thank you for all of that. I know that was a
Yeah,
lot.
I think
Thank
we
you.
beat that
I got a
thoroughly
lot of
to
notes.
death.
Mhm. Yeah. If you guys have any questions at any point about communications, how fast we can turn something around, just let me know. I'm always available.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? All right, moving on, planners report.
Want to let you guys know that. What?
Is there a drum
Well,
roll?
one thing, Winmore bond, we got everything agreed upon. Got everything agreed upon with our contractors. Waiting on the HOA to come. They've agreed on the agreement.
I don't want to hear about it until it's signed.
They should come by today and have it signed. So if,
The Winmore bond.
so the plan is to have all that work lined up, completed by the end of the year, outside of probably some tree plantings, which will be the last thing, depending on the funds left over from the bond proceeds. So that's finally almost across the finish line, like right there, like half a step. We have received the Heritage at Marvin construction documents for staff review. So Jones Holmes has finally got those to the village. Probably take, with as large as that development, will probably take about 2 or 3 months to get through staff, engineering review, as well as sending those to outside agencies. So most likely that will be on your guys' agenda for approval anywhere between January and February. Once those get approved and signed off on, then they will be able to break ground and move dirt. So I know that they're working on water line extension stuff right now too. Other than that, that's the only, and then the last will be the UDO update. We are like in the thick of the regulations right now. I encourage you guys, especially at this November meeting, to either attend or watch online, because we're getting into zoning districts, permitted uses, setbacks, and I want you guys to kind of at least know what is being discussed. There's going to be some things in there that, yeah, we don't want to allow or don't have that in the vision, but we're probably going to create a district for certain things like that and have that tool in the toolbox. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. That's part of the issue that our ordinance is where it's at now, is because previous council staff, whatever, just decided to say, hey, if we don't have it in the ordinance, it never can happen. And it was just omitted from the ordinance, and then it kind of screwed up other parts of the ordinance. So I just want you guys to at least be paying attention over the next 2 or 3 months on this, just so you guys understand the process and why certain things are in there. Not, once again, not that they're there so we can utilize them. They're just there for our protection and to make sure that we have an avenue from a legal standpoint. So, any questions on anything? I also have your guys' binders for that. If you guys want physical copies of every single section of the UDO that we've been through thus far, just let me know.
In case we can't sleep.
So I should, yeah. In case you want some, light reading before bed.
Should we kind of look at the calendar of that, and because if there is a quorum, we need to have notice sent out, correct?
I generally do prefer that. It's only if it's a physical quorum in person. So like 3 of y'all are here, yeah, I would like to send out a notice. It's only required to go to the newspaper. That's where I send them to.
What's that date?
It'll be next
But
week.
we should probably
When is
be
it?
looking at all
November
of those
21st.
dates from here till, we don't have, we don't have a lot further to go to get that, to get that done. So if you're looking at,
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock. You guys would just, if would like to ask for you guys just to sit in the public audience.
I can do that. I'll be here, so there's one.
And if there's,
what date is that?
it's the 21st. If you guys have any questions during the meeting, you can text it to me or just take notes down. We will have a joint meeting. You'll have your joint meeting with Planning Board in early March. That's anticipated to be the meeting before you guys, it's anticipated to have the joint meeting with you guys before Planning Board's regular March meeting, where they would actually make their final recommendation to the council. If we would want to schedule a joint meeting prior, we can discuss that. But I just want to, like I said, make sure you guys are involved, because the intent of this is once it gets to you guys in April, you're pretty familiar with it. I'd be also happy to sit down with you guys and do small groups if we need be, as we've done in the past. But the intent with this is that once it gets to you guys in April for the public hearing, we're on the same page. There's nothing in there that you guys don't want and Planning Board wanted, something along those lines. So I want to try getting all that fleshed out prior.
What I will do is whenever Planning Board agenda packets are published, I will include you all on those emails, and that will be your chance to let me know if you're going to be here in person, okay? And that way I can plan ahead. Whenever I publish the Planning Board packets, I'll include you all on those emails, and that'll be your chance to let me know that you're coming in person. And if I know that, okay, I've got 3 people, I'll go ahead and shoot an email to the newspaper letting them know, hey, the council's going to be here, it's a quorum, they're not participating. But that satisfies the legal requirement.
Okay.
And to further that,
Hard packet of stuff.
You have a binder.
yep, to further that, if you guys are not coming in person and are watching online, I give out each new section is basically in Planning Board for 2 months. The first meeting is introduced, we go through it, and I give them a physical copy of that ordinance at that meeting. And then we come back at the second meeting and they go over it, ask questions, any other recommendations. So if you're coming to that meeting, the ones in the packets are actually the ones from the last meeting. So the new sections, I'll have to get you a printed copy. If you're coming, I'll have your binder ready. But if you're not and you want to watch online, let me know and I'll get you either get your binders ready to take with you or however you want to do it. But other than that, that's all I got, unless you guys have any questions.
Nope, moving right along, thank you.
As far as I know, I can be at that first meeting, so I can sit in and listen.
Do we have snacks?
Unfortunately, the Planning Board doesn't get the dinner treatment.
I'm just kidding, I'm joking.
They would appreciate it.
I might bring some snacks myself, Jill. Am I invited? Yeah, always.
As long as you're shaking, you're always
All right.
invited.
Thank you, Hunter. Next up, we have event planning report. Tyler?
Trick or treat tomorrow night. As of this morning, I finally cut it off for real, but we have 16 vendors going to be there for the trick or treat. Yeah, I kept saying I was done, but I kept taking them. So we got 16 really, really great businesses going to be out there for the kids, looking for a good turnout. We have a DJ, bounce house, starts at 5 o'clock. Trick or treat portion ends at 7, going to be followed by a movie in the smaller lawn, beginning at like 7:15 or when it's really dark. So
Who do you need there from us?
anybody that's available.
Okay, so
I'll
this,
be there.
this will be a fabulous opportunity for those who are running.
I have committed already for the high school. It's senior night, and there's a halftime show, and it's
Okay, I'm
game starts.
just.
I will be there. My daughter has made it very clear that she
Endorse me, will
would
you?
like to be
Good.
included in this, so I will be there with her.
Be there.
Yeah, I know, you're out of town.
I'll be there.
Okay,
Perfect.
You coming dressed,
I'm going costume shopping tonight, actually, so
oh boy.
that's an affirmative.
So that's trick or treat. Friendship tree, start November 1st. We just got the list of names, so those will go on the tree by November 1st. Drop off for the gifts will be the week of the 27th. Christmas tree lighting will be December 9th. We'll have live music, school choir, school band, Santa Claus, cookies, hot chocolate,
And the elf.
and the elf.
On a shelf.
Yes.
So put him up on the shelf and see if he can get down.
Oh, I'm really gonna ham it up this year.
Hand up. And for Marvin Day, if you'll look at the handouts I gave y'all, those are updates for sponsors. I believe we have an update from Mayor Pro
Yes,
Tem.
yes. So I should not have a 0 by my number of commitments received. I have a 1 now. At $2,500, Firethorn has moved up from a silver sponsor to a gold sponsor. So they're committed to $2,500, so thank you, Firethorn. So I'm almost beating Christina now.
Almost counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
I know.
And yeah, these will be updated to you. And this sheet you can always find when I email out the updated spreadsheet. This will be on the second sheet for the biweekly summary. It's basically just going to show how many people we have committed in the last 2 weeks and then your total to date. And then you can see the total raised right now is at $3,000 in cash and then $1,500 in in-kind sponsorships. One note, when you're sending your updates to Mary, let's be very specific about like when we're saying we contacted, instead of saying like we contacted 3 people, like please send a list of like the business name you contacted so we can keep that updated on the spreadsheet. But yeah, we're off to a pretty hot start, so let's keep it going.
All right, did anybody not do their homework and send in their update? Joe? You didn't do it? Bob, you didn't do it? You didn't send in your updates? No, it was due on Monday morning at 8 a.m. It's on your calendar. Okay.
My life will be back to normal after the first weekend.
No excuse, I don't want, no, I don't want excuses. Just get it done.
It is what it is.
Just do it. Just get it done. Get your sponsors, reach out. And whenever we're ready to start going door to door, let me know. I'm in.
You can only do so much in the day.
Oh, my God. Do you want some cheese with that wine?
Just saying that, live in my shoes, you'd think a little different.
If you don't do it, I'm just gonna berate you. No,
I'm okay with that.
you don't care.
Oh, she will.
Okay. Do we, okay, let's have a serious conversation about the barbecue situation. I'm not loving the fact that nobody has done this. I know you've got a drop dead date, but I feel like if we don't have anybody yet, I don't know, what do you guys think?
My wife had a suggestion. She said, why not offer like a free registration for like the first 2 people that participate or something like that? Like make it like a sense of urgency where, wait a minute, if I register, this is free. And you put it that way as such. Just a thought.
be a catalyst.
I mean, I got to the point, I think it was last night, we have a person within the band that it deals with all the food for the kids and feeding them during band practice and all that kind of stuff, that I was gonna reach out to her to say, because she loves doing that kind of stuff, but may not, and first time she had just been to Eford Park, but she does live in the Marvin area, but not in Marvin. But that's one person, and it's,
Let me hit my neighbor up. He loves to do stuff like that. Maybe, I mean, if I gotta help
If
him
you
drag the
can
grill down
find
there,
one
then I will.
person that does it, they have friends that all do it, and then they can all do it. I mean, I don't know anybody that competitively does that. Chip used to do it, but I don't think he does it anymore, does he? Yeah.
We still have reminder emails going out every 2 to 3 days on this.
Yeah.
They're set to go through, I think, the 8th.
Okay.
If we do decide to cancel on the 9th, I'm prepared to pull promotions.
Okay.
So we can do a free registration, but honestly, if we don't get enough competitors, if we only have 2 sign up, we're still gonna have to cancel it, because it's
yeah.
not gonna be enough. So
You
at
need
this
at
point, I
least
don't
5,
know,
right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
I don't know that it's worth it to do it if we're only gonna get a couple.
Yeah, I think 5's your number.
I did post yesterday in some really huge Waxhaw neighborhoods like Lawson and Millbridge that have a lot of residents. I'm in both of those Facebook groups. So I did a post yesterday, and Tyler's not on Facebook, so he just tells me what he wants, and I kind of throw it on there. I'm going to post in the What's Up Waxhaw groups, and I just recently joined a couple of groups that are Marvin-specific, Marvin Events and Marvin Moms or whatever. So I was going to post in there to see if they can get some husbands interested as well.
Very good. All right, thanks. I think it's a great idea, and I think we'll get it eventually, but it just may take like,
so say if we do get it, the brew part, what does that entail? Do we just?
it's
go through
BYOB.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Brew and queue. You bring your own, and then we bring the queue.
Okay,
Cool.
be sure.
Okay.
That it? All right, any questions? Moving on, coffee with council, debrief. Who's got the debrief?
I don't think you guys have an update because we replaced this month's second coffee with council with the town hall, and you guys gave your update from early November, so you can just skip past this.
All right, moving on, consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Can we take
Unfinished.
a quick little break?
Yeah, let's
I'm
take,
sorry.
we don't need a motion. I'm going to ask for a quick little bio break.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Do we got food coming? We did. He said yes. She said yes.
Every meeting we have.
Now we do.
Of all people, you should know that.
Well, it's an indication it's going wrong. Or not.
You know, I've been trying to build this damn pig cooker for 2 years now. And there's no way in hell I'm gonna have it done to compete, but this would be like the perfect time to, break it in.
What'd you get to start by doing? Did you just get a?
Well, I had a trailer sitting around, it's a 5x8 trailer or whatever, and I had an old oil tank sitting out back. When I bought my house, it was out there. So I cut it, made the lid, put the hinges on it, it's already was on legs. I modified them so it sits on the trailer. And my design is that I'm doing shelves. It's got stake pockets on there. So what I'm gonna do is a cantilever shelf that I can turn around and put a pin in. So when you're going down the road, it's closed in, and then when you get there, you turn it and it opens up. So you got all that space. You got 5 foot of space behind it. Have shelves down both sides, steps, and then my wood rack in the front on the tongue. And then you can feed it from the ground right there, so it's kind of up a little bit, so you just stuff the wood in.
We did one, when we were I was in school, our fraternity ended up making one. It might have been like a pledge project for one of the classes, because we were spending a lot of money on like catering for tailgates, because like we used to have to like
So the question I
Don't make
have,
me beg you.
okay, so the
Text me back.
question I have
Yeah.
is,
Well, maybe I'll get you to
Am
give
I-
me some pointers
if
on
I
it.
walk
I
around
ordered,
with my vote for Bob
temperature gauge and stuff, so I've got
does that cross
those.
the line?
What I
Because
did
I'm
was, for
there
my handle, I've got a
in
piece
a-
of 1-inch oak dowel, and I got some pipe, galvanized pipe, so I'll cut it, and then weld legs onto the, for the handle to lift it up, so it's a nice robust handle. But I'm not exactly sure about how it drafts and stuff, so I need to figure out the, like, that under part.
But you should talk
And
to
I'm just
Joe
gonna
and see
do
if you can
cold
get some
steel
of
for
those,
the
ballots that I
cooking
put
rack.
together.
But do I do that
Hand 'em
underneath
out.
for the wood too, or?
Oh, I can do that too there. Okay.
You can do anything you want to there.
All right. Joseph.
Yeah. I mean, you can do charcoal, but I mean, it still has the same kind of setup, right? So you'd have to have an ashtray to pull out to clean it, easily.
Well, I'm gonna walk around with my vote for Bob thing, and she said, if you get some of the I can handle more.
I have it in my bag, I just can go to this, printing place and go get them done. But the only problem is,
Now, I'm gonna, today,
Well, I just sent my, my
today I'm
tenant,
gonna go to,
I mean, I'll drag a damn,
library in Earlsburg.
After
it's just done. Well, I have an errand there anyway, in Monroe, so I figured, at 3 o'clock, so I figured I'd go early vote.
All right. We're on mute. All right, we're back in session. Next up, we have unfinished business. And I'm showing the first thing up on the agenda is discuss and consider price changes made to the Marvin facility rentals fee schedule. Who's got this? Whoa.
Tyler's going to take this over, but before he gets into it, what they did in revising this fee schedule was they took kind of two approaches and put it into one so you can select some of it, but not all of it. So what they did was they lowered the Marvin rates and they increased the non-Marvin rates. So you can accept it as it is, or you can go through and keep the Marvin rates the same, or vice versa. He basically took two approaches, combined it into one.
Yeah, the non-resident rate just went up $50 across the board, and then most of the resident rates got split in half.
I will say, I did have Tyler pull the statistics on Marvin rentals versus non-Marvin rentals, and about 55% were 65% were non-Marvin residents, so.
You know, if it's that much of a percentage of people using it outside of Marvin, then I'm good with this right here, reducing and raising the non. Maybe it'll catalyze some of our residents to actually use the park.
Yeah.
Because I'd
Yeah,
rather see
I
a
like-
higher number of our residents using the park. Not that I have a problem with other people using it, but I'd like to see us get out there more.
Yeah, I mean, I like this approach, lowering and raising. I want to make sure that right underneath barn picnic shelter, you've got the 4 bullet points. That also goes for Village Hall facility rentals, correct, too, right? Okay, but the rental fees for nonprofits, the cluster schools and the employees goes also with the Village Hall facility, okay. And then I would like to see the professional access pass fee. I would like to see that be differentiated between residents and non-residents. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
I don't know.
Where are we at?
Professional access that's a business, so it's a cost of running a business. Whether you're a resident or not, it's still you're making money on it. So I think that should be an across the board thing. I mean, as a business owner, I don't mind paying the normal rate. That's a through cost that I'm gonna have to pass on to my customers. So I think that's fine to stay that way. Because it's just a cost of doing business if you're gonna have a professional pass.
And
Okay.
Your hourly rental rates for professional access holders are going up next year. That's already in the schedule.
Okay. I don't know, I just feel like people who are business owners expect to pay a fee for this, and I know that there are people out there that use it a lot. And I feel like if you're a Marvin resident, maybe you should get a little bit of a break. If you're not, maybe you should pay a little bit more. I don't know.
Photographers use it.
All the time.
All the time, and that's,
Weddings, it's just natural settings and things.
how many people do we have that have professional passes actually live in the village? In the village. I mean, is it a significant number of people that we would want to try to help out, or is it just? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is a pass-through cost. It is. So it's.
Why not monetize on it? I don't know.
I mean, no, I'm saying like giving Marvin residents a break. Are there that many residents that are using the professional pass that it really makes much difference? I mean, it's a pass-through cost, so.
How many people are getting a professional pass? Do we know how many we've had?
We did not pull that data on the professional passes. We can.
Well, people are going to start renewing that for next year, so we're pretty much out of the window of being able to change that. But I'm fine with doing these other fees. I like this approach, lowering and raising.
Yeah.
Do y'all
Gives
want,
a little bigger disparity between the costs. so
Yeah,
it-
I'm
it
good with this.
gives-
Is
So
there
y'all are good
any,
with how
is
it's
there, has
presented?
there ever been any thought to seasonal adjustments and rates too, or no?
No,
Okay.
I think that's
Are
too
you-
hard.
if y'all are good with this, we actually had planned on putting it on the consent agenda, but,
There's actually a motion already in the system
Okay.
for it.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to
Well,
approve.
Hold on one second. I had one question. 4 and 5 listing here, residential versus non-residential, two different numbers, but exact same headings. Why, what is that?
Probably one's for the barn and probably one's for the picnic shelter.
I don't know. I'm asking.
what line are you on?
If I open up my attachments, number 4 and 5, both say the same thing, residential versus non-residential rentals.
One has a total of 10 rentals, the other one has a total of like 56 rentals. So I'm guessing one's the picnic shelter and one's the
Where are
barn.
you seeing that?
Look,
That's
6
that's
and 4.
56%.
No, 6 and 4. That's definitely on the same. 36 and 20.
It's the fiscal years, the small one was from this fiscal year, and the one that has like 50, some on it is 22, 23.
Okay.
Okay, okay. All right. Go ahead with your motion if you'd like.
Oh, thank you. Make a motion to approve the fee schedule as amended.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
How many times are we going to have to do that? We're always adjusting.
A lot.
All right, moving,
Again next year, too.
moving on. Discussion of installation sites of newly purchased radar signs. Who's got this? Davey.
All right, so we do have radar signs ordered. It's about a 5-week process. I think we're a week or so into it, so we should have them in a few weeks or so. I had, in my attachments, I had provided locations, 6 different locations, 2 on each road, Joe Carr Road, Marvin School Road, and Waxhaw Marvin Road. We also added a couple of additional potential locations on Waxhaw Marvin, so we have 4 now. But the reason I provided 2 for each road is I wasn't sure which direction council wanted the sign to face. So depending on I'm still learning the traffic patterns in Marvin, so I don't know which direction is needed the most to have the sign actually face. Again, it picks up data on coming both directions, but the drivers will only see one side width.
Is it designed where you could easily flip it or no? No, okay.
Well, it would be on the wrong side of the road if you flipped it. So you wouldn't be,
You still see it though.
And so saying that, I provided some maps and I've got some addresses. I wasn't sure, are you like to start on a particular road and discuss kind of select 2 locations or
How many signs did we order? 2? 2. Okay. So if we want to put 2 on the same road, then that's our location. Otherwise, we can do 2 roads, kind of the way that we did on Marvin Road and the one on Waxhaw Marvin Road.
I can,
Okay.
Should we ask Union County, our local deputies?
I did.
for their
We did.
advice?
I was about to say that. I spoke to Tommy after the meeting Tuesday night. One of his suggestions was Marvin School Road. This seems to be a drag strip from the roundabout to the school, and it seems to be a high-speed corridor for our village. That was the one that he suggested. He didn't necessarily, he had a mixed opinion on the other one. He wasn't 100% sure, but that's one that he did advise, is that area. We also discussed some stuff about school zone signage for that area.
So Davey, refresh my memory, the sign just flashes when you're going too fast, it flashes red, similar to what we have on that?
it's the same style sign, it's just a newer version of it. So
Okay,
it should
Right, and we've already ordered these, correct?
Yes, sir.
The only thing that got my attention, I was driving an instructor home who lived in Matthews, and it got my attention, and it is a radar sign, but it is also, if you're going over the speed limit, now in fairness, John's Road off of 485 heading north towards Matthews, if you go at night, lights come on like a police, blue and red, and it got my attention. You know, 25 miles an hour, very hard to do on that road anyway, so yes, I was going over 25. But, you know, the instructor I was driving, hey, I'm just telling you what it is. The instructor that I was driving says, oh yeah, it's not a police officer, but it's there. But it did get my attention, and I thought, wow, if there's a way to incorporate something like that onto some of these really dangerous roads where we've had a death already, to get people's attention that, you know, especially at night or whatever, this drag strip and stuff. I don't want to add more to it, but it's just, as you think about these things and see what towns have and what they use, I don't know if we're there yet or we need that, but it you know, just flashing your sign, flashing, okay, you're going, you know, too fast or whatever, and that's on the other side coming the other way, I believe.
It's heading south, southbound on Waxaw Marvin. It does flash, it's green, and then it is yellow, and then it flashes red,
Right,
depending on your speed.
But these were actually, looked like police lights. I'm like,
I've seen those. They got a red and flashing. Yeah.
yep. Yep. It just,
It
it's
does
it's
grab
an
your
attention,
attention.
a getter, and, you know, but, just an add-on. But, as far as direction, do we have any input from anyone on what? We're just,
What you're seeing on your screen now is my computer, so if you would like to look at some of these locations on Google Maps Street View, I can do that. Give you a better idea of what we'd be looking like.
Well, we did have a request from a resident to have one further down on Waxaw Marvin Road past the Bonds Grove intersection. Do we have any decent area to put one down there?
I looked at that location yesterday and I found, two potential spots that may work. I will say that the roads, the three roads that the council had asked me to look at, there's few locations with shoulders are wide enough, because I think with these signs have to be 10, 15 feet off the edge of the roadway. So there are long stretches where the shoulder is very narrow, and then there's some that are wide enough. Many of those are manicured, so pulling off the side of the road to take a look at those, it's kind of dangerous. I've got firsthand look at what traffic is any time of day. If I try it morning, mid-morning, early afternoon, and late afternoon, the traffic never slows down. But in saying that, I was able to locate two, and it's been attached.
Yeah, it's not in there.
Extended.
Yeah, extended, it's not pulling up.
Oh, I've got yellow lines. I got yellow lines there, yeah.
Is your extended pulling up? Oh, mine's not.
Mine is. The only, I guess, the problem with that
I know.
other end of Waxaw Marvin Road is sight lines.
Nothing there.
And then you've got the stop sign, so people are automatically slowing down when they're heading northbound to you know, approach the Bonds Grove intersection. I know that Tommy had put the radar trailer on that property there for a while on the corner of that dirt road. I forget the name of the dirt road there by the horse farm.
Yeah,
But that was going southbound.
yeah.
And it was, I mean, I guess it was fairly effective there, but that was in somebody's, you know,
Yard, yeah.
yard. I don't know how the right-of-way looks at that intersection there, if it's feasible there. I mean, if we were gonna put two on Waxhaw Marvin Road, I'd like to have one on the northbound side, since we have one on the southbound side.
Yeah, I'm
But I don't know where to put it down on that end because of the.
I'm okay splitting them up. I don't necessarily think we need to have them going in both directions. Like, I think we should obviously listen to what our sheriff's, our deputies have said, and they've said that down here on Marvin School Road makes a lot of sense. He didn't seem to have a sense of where the other one should go, so if we can put one down here on Waxaw Marvin going northbound, I mean, that would work.
Am I repeating this correctly, Wayne, from our conversation Tuesday night? I mean, he didn't say that he shouldn't put it there, and he didn't say he shouldn't put it on Joe Carr, but he did say that he thought this option was definitely number one. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
The conversation I had with, one of the officers as well was the, traffic heading toward the school seemed to be the
Worst,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what Tommy said.
From
yeah.
here,
From here,
yeah.
yeah. And I watch them,
So,
regularly.
okay, so I'm good
Do
with,
that.
I'm good with one on Marvin School Road. I do think that we need to reach out to DOT, Christina, because there are no DOT-posted school zone times going in either direction by the elementary school.
And
And they
according,
cannot enforce
yeah,
the lower speed limit during school unless those signs are out. I don't know if the school needs to request them. I don't know if we request them from DOT, if they'll come out and put them out, but they need to be out there because then Tommy and Ed can enforce the speeding in the school zone during school times.
yeah, and that's a much higher penalty.
Fine and insurance
Yeah.
knock.
Yes.
On Marvin School, which direction are you on? Sorry.
Going towards Ray Road from Village Hall.
Northbound
Is that northbound or eastbound?
North,
or
Well,
west,
they've got images in their
north or
agenda
west,
packets.
whatever,
I'm just
however it.
taking note for the minutes.
Tommy also said,
North and south through Marvin,
if
yeah.
you give them a regular ticket, they just look at the bottom, see how much the fine is, and they go on. But if you hit a school, because it's a school, they have to go in front of the judge, and he makes a recommendation on how much the fine is, based upon your speed and where it was.
Yeah, because it goes to district court if it's above just a regular speeding ticket. Speeding ticket just handles in traffic court, and most of the time it just flows through it.
But that would, if they put that so you divide it up again in the school.
Yeah,
zone,
that's why,
it wouldn't
Yeah.
make a big difference in the ticket.
I always
Yeah.
wonder why they never had.
So in your agenda packets, you've got the options for the Marvin School Road. Can y'all,
yeah, it's the second one.
y'all are okay with that?
It's,
General
the bottom of the thing says signs should be located in the right shoulder of the road coming from Newtown Road and heading toward Marvin, well, it says middle school, but Marvin Elementary School. That's okay. So it's on the right shoulder, so it's going towards the elementary school from Village Hall.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that one. And then on this one, it looks like maybe we could put it past Laurelwood up on the right.
Let me show you, I think this is a stretch of road. If you can see between Viking and Laurel, right at Viking is where our village limits begin.
Right.
So that stretch of road, I think, would work pretty well. Let me get my bearings.
Is it Laurelwood Lane?
You are. Go the other way.
Turn around.
Turn around. Turn around the middle of the street.
Watch for
There you
cars.
go.
Are you signaling?
Car's going too fast.
Yeah, there's
Must be Joe.
there's Viking right there.
This stretch of roadway here, you can see it's maintained apparently, I'm assuming, by the DOT and
You can tell.
has some issues throughout the year, but that's not a big deal. You can see other times of the year, it's very clear. Of course, if this area is selected, Public Works would go out and spray around the sign. We could keep the vegetation away from the signs.
Well, that's in the power right of way, so they do trim that every couple of years, because they just did a big trim on the power line easements this past year.
I mean, you could almost do it at the, like, kind of at the top of the, like, kind of where the truck is. Well, like right in there, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that would be good.
Is that past Laurel?
And that gets us,
It is past
that
Laurelwood.
northbound
Yeah.
direction. Although these signs record both sides, it gives the drivers actually see a speed
Well,
going
because when you're
northbound.
coming around, when you're coming from the high school and you're coming southbound, I mean, you've got some curves that are gonna just, I mean, I know people still speed, but they're gonna slow you down. When you're coming in the northbound direction, you've got a pretty good straightaway that you can get some decent speed up. I mean, you do.
Well, I know that I hear them, I
Speaking
hear
from
them taking
experience.
off from Henry Nesbitt, going past the chimneys on that straightaway there. That seems to be a hot spot there too, but, I mean, because I hear them every night.
Yeah, but I mean, we can't have, I mean, we've
I
got
mean,
to,
you
we've
can't-
got to
yeah.
spread them out. We can't have them like every 15 feet.
I mean, I'm fine with going on the south side of town and putting one on that northbound lane there. That, it makes sense, because people do come down that hill coming out of Waxhaw at a pretty good clip, and
Yep.
there is an intersection there that's very busy,
Yep,
and people do need to slow down through
Yep.
there.
Where's that at? Exactly.
Just
right there. where we're
right
talking
there,
about.
just north of Gray Byram Road on the,
So, and
northbound side.
again, if we have to, we can move it if it's not
Yeah.
collecting the kind of data that we think, or if it's not doing what we think, we can always move it.
It's simple to install and remove. It just comes down to getting a construction permit
Yep.
from DOT.
Yep.
how is
It
the,
operates at battery or?
it's
Solar.
solar, so that was just gonna ask, how's the tree canopy there gonna affect it?
Tree canopy's a challenge in all stretches of the roads that I found, except maybe Joe Carr. But, I think, see, there's good vegetation on these trees. I think there's enough daylight, sunlight during the day there.
Okay.
Of the other locations, there's a lot of overhang of the roadways. I think this is probably our best option.
Yeah.
The second one was closer to Farms Grove Church Road, which is, that's right on top of a
Stop sign.
station.
Yeah. People are gonna slow down anyway. I like this. I like this and, on Marvin School Road.
Just for the minutes, is the next street up Cedar Knoll on the left?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, good.
Okay. Everybody good with that? Do you need a vote on that?
No,
Okay.
consensus is fine.
All right. You're off. Woo-hoo. Thanks, Davey.
All right, next up, we have discuss and consider appropriating 1,500 to fund Meadowlark plantings.
Can I jump in real quick, Christine? I know that says your name. So the reason that this has come up is because when we were in our last Parks Rec and Greenway meeting, we were talking about the Heritage Pocket Park, and while we were having that conversation, Hunter brought up that we're gonna have this land is gonna be dedicated to, can we pull up the picture? Can you pull up, is it on here?
No,
It's not on here?
I don't think so.
We can screen share. Hunter, can you plug in?
There it is, this picture.
Oh.
So you can see here,
Let me disconnect here.
this area is where the old Meadowlark Lane was. That will be dedicated to the village once Jones Homes closes on the property. So Hunter and I just went ahead and said, hey, PRNG, can you go ahead and put together a plan for this area? This is what they've come up with. I'm in agreement. I didn't know what the timing was in terms of when it was the villages, when it wasn't the villages, but I am absolutely in agreement that we should wait until it is dedicated to us, because otherwise, like, could be spending that it doesn't close, so.
It ain't over till it's over.
It ain't over till it's over, so. But I'm glad that we have the plan in place, and we can go ahead and appropriate some money, and so whenever it does close, we can go ahead and do the plantings. Now, Andy had a question about whether they pulled up Old Meadowlark Lane. Per the construction documents that Christina sent me, on page 5, it says to remove the existing asphalt, and it has that on there. So,
Well, I just want to confirm that before we do anything, because if there is asphalt underneath there, that's certainly a detriment to anything we would plant in there. So
I don't know
wanna
who we
confirm
can confirm that with, but per the plans, it's supposed to be done, so if it wasn't done and they just covered it up with dirt and mulch and seed and whatever, not mulch, seed and straw, then they're gonna have to come back up and rip it up.
Well,
So let's confirm that it's actually gone.
We'll get,
Joke at the guy's car, the foreman.
I don't know, I mean, Christina can talk to DOT.
we'll get a copy of the as-built in a couple of weeks, so
Okay.
it should be in there.
Okay.
I just want to confirm that, but my stance on this is that I'd prefer to wait. The plan's fine and all that, but I'd prefer to wait, not only for the property to be sure that it's dedicated, but also I'd like to know, we may decide to do something slightly different or altogether different there as the pocket park comes to fruition, how all that's going to look and how it's going to be utilized. I think that we should just take a step back. It's been seeded, so it'll grow grass. It's less maintenance for us to deal with
We're not going to do anything
right
until
now.
at least March when it closes. So we have time for Park Trek and Greenway to come back on the pocket park, figure out more what their
Right.
plans are there that they can bring to us or their thoughts there.
Okay.
And then we can make that decision. But for now, we at least have a plan. So if we like the plan and we decide that this is the plan, we have one.
Okay,
And if we want to go ahead and appropriate the money, I think that's fine. But I don't think we should do anything till it closes.
Yeah, and
And then we'll have water there too by that time.
yeah. But that gives us time to figure out the pocket park and how all of it's going to look. Because we may decide to change some things aesthetically from this plan, depending on how the park looks and how it's going to be utilized and such. Because this is it's small, but it's still fairly significant in the situation that it's in. So, and it's going to need some work to get it done too, because there's a lot of cleaning up and, those trees that you see dotted there, they're surrounded by a bunch of vines and other just scrub and everything, so it's going to have to be cleaned out. It's going to be a lot of work to prep it and actually install this, so.
Okay. So do we want to go ahead and vote on appropriating the funds so that when we're ready to do it, we've already had this vote? Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to appropriate $1,500 to we're going to call it the Meadowlark plantings, because it was on Old Meadowlark Lane.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Next up, new business. We have discuss. Excuse me 1 second here. Discuss and consider entering agreement with Centralina Regional Council to conduct a strategic plan at a cost not to exceed $15,000 and authorize manager to execute agreement and establish timeline with Centralina Regional Council and direct staff to do what? It ended right there on the description.
To prepare a budget amendment.
To prepare a budget amendment, okay.
Well,
Who has this? Christina?
Yep, that's me. So I put this on the agenda. As you all know, we have been discussing a lot of different things, and staff is moving in a lot of different directions at times. We have conceptual ideas that we've discussed at retreats and just things that come down the line as we go throughout the year in terms of parks, land acquisition, solid waste in-house, an MSD tax overlay district. We've had some conversations about police and stormwater, annexation reform and annexation ventures to campaign folks to come in. We've had some conversations about, what happens when the GO bonds, if the GO bonds pass and we do the greenways and trails increase. So we've got a lot of different things and stuff that we're working on. And sometimes at a staff level, we just really want some direction as to kind of where we're going in terms of vision, mission, where we need to be focusing all of our efforts on. So this is really just kind of my stab at trying to get us on a plan for where we're focusing efforts in the next 3 to 4 years. A lot of these things do take a lot of time to plan. If we're talking about stormwater or MSD tax overlay, it's really a 3 or 4 year long process of trying to get some of the infrastructure planning and analysis in place before we can implement some of those things. So not something that we have to do. It's just something that we may want to consider in terms of planning out our next 3 to 5 years. Want to just throw it out there, see what you guys thought of.
I don't know, I had a conversation with Christina about this, because I had a question on this. I think personally that this council is capable of this task at our retreat, that we can set priorities and strategies ourselves. I don't think we need to spend $15,000 for somebody else to tell us how to prioritize our projects. I think it really truthfully is our responsibility to set these priorities and organize this so that staff can attack these different projects and complete them before we task them with something else. So I feel like we're very capable of handling this task at our retreat. And we've got a retreat coming up in January, so it will be a perfect time to get prepared and do our homework and figure this out so that we can discuss it at our retreat.
I like that idea. In the meantime, is there something we can pull from what they did with other towns that would maybe give us a guide for that?
Yeah, we can pull some stuff. I've got an example in your agenda packet, but they've given us a couple of other ones that I can send out you ought to start looking at.
I mean, I certainly understand the need for the organization. I just think we can handle this.
So Christina probably felt like it was Groundhog's Day yesterday, because I had the same conversation with her and said the same thing, that I felt like we could handle this at our retreat. So if you can give us some additional examples besides the one that you have in your agenda packet, and if you can get us kind of those priority lists that you always send us, and maybe we can get those done a little bit earlier, maybe by, say, the December meeting, and then we can kind of review those quickly, just go over them, and kind of this is what we are thinking is the priority. But if we want to add anything, and if there's things on that priority list that you think that, like, council thinks that we should be working on that's not on that list, let's add it, and then we can really dive into it at the retreat.
So
Sounds like a plan.
one of the things I would mention is, since we are going to have one new seat open up, that person won't take office until December, I would rather encompass that person's priorities into the matrix. So if we could schedule to, if y'all think it's amenable to have them back, and we can prepare them for the retreat discussion, and then that can go into some of the strategic planning.
Give it to us now.
Okay.
Give it to whoever gets on the council in December and say, have this back to us. That way, you're not waiting on us, because you know that you're going to have to track some of these people's
Okay.
down.
We can do that.
Joe, Jamie, Wayne, Bob, Andy, not me. I get
Yeah,
the gold
whatever.
star. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But get,
Still says it.
I mean, because it is true. Give it to us so we can get it done early, and then it'll be you're just going to give the same person,
Yeah.
whoever it is, the same information. And
Yes.
then if somebody doesn't happen to get reelected, then you'll just pull that out of the matrix that you've
Okay,
done.
we can do that.
That's not going to happen, but, it's fine. Okay? Good?
We can do that.
Is that
for sure.
okay?
Yep.
And then council can be looking at what you've sent us in terms of what other towns have done. And if there are things on that priority list that are not really a priority anymore, like, let's just kind of put it in a bucket over to the side where we're not continuously having to rank it.
Right.
And if it's, now we want a police department, then we put that on there and we start working towards it.
Yeah, I mean,
Good?
and I think and as we discussed, I think our priorities
No capes?
would change depending on circumstances that arise. So we need to have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, just so that if something doesn't happen and we redirect,
Yeah.
we want that redirection course so that we can just immediately implement that.
And I will say that I will commit to, if we can't put together a well-thought-out plan of attack, that we'll revisit this and go this route.
Sounds good.
Let us take a stab at it first.
That's fair.
Is that good?
Yeah. All right. No action there, or we don't need action, okay, so we're not doing anything. Next up, we have discuss and consider entering agreement with McAdams for 2024 part of grant writing assistance proposal.
That's me again. As you all know, we did not, unfortunately, we did not receive the Part F recommendation for approval in this fiscal year. We are planning to resubmit an application for 2024. The 2022 contract, I think we passed it around so you all can see it. It was about $60,000 from McAdams the first time. I will say the contract in front of you is not apples to apples. That contract in 2022 was to prepare the Parks Comprehension Plan, which was basically the analysis of all parks within Marvin, meaning Marvin Eford Park, the pocket park that we have over here at Village Hall, the proposed Heritage Pocket Park, and then the Publix Marvin Gardens Pocket Park. So they kind of looked at all of the parks within the village to decide what should go on what areas. They did a needs assessment, a very in-depth public engagement process, and that kind of determined where the public wanted certain things and amenities to be within those parks. From that comprehensive parks plan, we all decided to move forward with a site-specific parks plan, which was the Village Hall, if you all recall. So that was a second plan that was developed from McAdams within that first scope of the contract. So there's two big chunky plans that were developed out of that $60,000 proposal. The $17,000 proposal in front of you is just the grant writing services for the Part F application and amendment to the Village Hall master plan. There are certain things within the scope of the scoring matrix that we need to change in our master plan. So we would have to have another public engagement process, another amendment to that site-specific plan to include some cost analysis and additional amenities onto that plan for our application to be competitive. There would also need to be a survey. I did ask McAdams, one of the things that the Part F representative told me is they like to see statistically significant surveys. That's not something we did last year because we tried to reduce some of the public engagement costs on our end, and so we did the survey in-house. I don't remember how many respondents we had, but we didn't have very many. And as a part of the proposal in front of you, the survey is actually being conducted by McAdams, hoping that they will have a little bit more input from their end. I will say there are certain portions of the proposal that I feel like we could do in-house and save a little bit of money, but there are portions like amending the master plan and coming up with cost analysis that I don't feel comfortable saying that staff can do. So.
So do you think that this money gives a significantly better chance of being awarded that Part F grant if we go down this road?
I would say yes, but I would have said yes to the same question last year when we allowed them to do it the first time, so.
Have they come back to us and said, okay, we've learned something, we see where there's holes, we see there's, because we're paying them to be the experts in this, and there's got to be, it's hard to put accountability on it because they can only present what, but I would feel more comfortable if they came back with a detailed plan that shows us the difference in what they did last time and what they're going to add to do it this time. Because we can't, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. And in this particular case, we're spending a lot of money. I do believe that I am for having staff do some of this to save some money, but that's their area of expertise. And if we're going to bring someone in, but they need to provide to us. And I would almost do it without asking them. See if they come to us and say, this is what we did last time, this is what we're doing differently this time. And if we get to the point that they haven't supplied that to us, then we need to ask, but that should be a red flag. They should come to us with that information.
So we actually had a post-application conference call probably about a month ago, and we went through the application, the scoring rubric, what we did during that time, and we summarized what we could do differently in the next submittal. So they have already done that. It's not in writing what they would have done differently, but we did have a conference call that kind of delineated what those differences would be. And most of it being the public engagement, and I highlighted it in your, adding the additional facilities, and then the public engagement process. Those were the two things of areas that we needed to improve. Everything else we scored really high on. So as a part of the public engagement, they talked about just changing the way we did our survey. That was one of the changes they would do. And then the recreational facilities, this was a really weird one. And I know when you see 10 out of 45, you're kind of raises red flags. Why is it so low? But I will say the 45 points, you get, don't quote me on these numbers, but you get roughly 20 points if it's a new facility. So you're already coming in 20 less because it's not a new facility. So there's only a certain level of points that you could get up to the 45. Since we don't have, I'm sorry, not a new facility, a new park. You don't have any parks in your jurisdiction whatsoever. You would get an automatic 20 points for that. Since we already have an existing park, we didn't have the 20 points. But the new facility, you do get some additional points. Where we struggled with this, and they did argue back to the consultant during the application process, the way Part F defines facilities, there's a certain definition, and they like to see facilities like, for example, you have a playground, that's one facility. You've got a amphitheater, that's 2 facilities. You've got a walking trail that's maybe a mile, that's 3 facilities. So they like to see a certain number of facilities in the application. They only dubbed our application to have 1 facility for that kind of event lawn multi-use space. We did not include the actual amphitheater itself in this submittal because we had intentionally planned on that being a phase 2. And that's the reason that wasn't in there. We had arbitrarily decided phase 1 would consist of all the groundwork, the trail that would go in, some of the minor stuff. And then phase 2, we would go for additional funding for the amphitheater. So they want to see some more amenities / facilities, and that's where we struggled on that one. We thought that trails would be counted because we did have a trail in there, but it was less than a quarter mile, and they don't count that as.
So this is where I'm gonna, I mean, I agree with Jamie a lot, but I'm going to agree with Jamie on this, is they're the experts on this. Why in the world did they not know that and tell us to put that stuff in there? This is one
Right.
reason that I have a massive problem with the fact that they're gonna charge us an additional almost $18,000 to come back and do work that they should have known.
I agree.
I mean, this really, really chaps my butt. Like, I'm not, like, it really bothers me. They are the experts. If it would needed to be a quarter of a mile, then we should have had it on there as a quarter of a mile. If we needed the amphitheater, we should have had the amphitheater on there.
So I would almost, because I'm still not happy with the last time we did our policies and amendments and stuff to the MDO. UDO project. This is something similar. I don't know if there's something that you can bake into that says, okay, if approved, you get X, and if not approved, they take a hit. So we can't be the only ones taking hits. If I'm doing any kind of contract with someone, there is some type of clause in there that says, if unsuccessful, you get hit.
Like a
You know
contingency
what, then
agreement.
I put a little more emphasis and effort into it, but just going, we didn't get it this time, but re-up with us and we'll show, I don't, that doesn't fly in the regular business world, and sometimes people take advantage of the government entities that they're working with. So I would bake in there, and I would stand, me personally, I stand hard fast on it. You bake something in there that says, upon acceptance, we get the Part F, if the total is 20,000, if we don't get it, we pay you 16,000. If we do get it, then you get the full 20,000. But I can't go for this because what happens next time?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they go, well, you know what? Damn, we were close. We were close. Do it again, and we're going to learn from it this time. Well, then they've just got triple the amount of money for something that
They should have done the first time.
And I just, and when you go back, tell them that we're gonna treat this just like any other contract with another business. There's gotta be skin in the game, and quite honestly, right now, I don't see skin in the game, and I'm still pissed about the other thing, and I hope we get it right, and I believe we're gonna get it right this time, I truly do. But let's get it right this time with them, so we're not wasting time
So,
and money.
two things I'll mention. I can go back to them and ask for a contingency agreement. We've got a little bit of time to play with, but in the meantime, Tyler and I can sit down and look through the proposal and see what we reasonably think we can accomplish in-house and bring back kind of a bare bones approach, if anything, if the contingency doesn't work out. So we'll work on that between now and November.
So it goes back to the point where you're saying staff can do some of this. It should be kind of a equity thing where if we don't get it, the time that staff has put in to make this successful, we kind of get that back because we didn't get it. Am I making sense? But if we do get it, it's a combination of staff and McAdams doing it together, and we're successful at it. I don't know that I communicated that. There should, bottom line, there should be skin in the game. It should be that when we succeed, we all succeed, but when we fail, we all fail.
Okay. We will bring something back in November.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? All right, next up, we have discussion of programming costs for youth soccer and football. Is that you, Tyler?
Yeah, so we had been discussing kind of just a more detailed list of what it would look like for sports to actually go on inside the village. And that spreadsheet in front of you just has two different examples of a soccer league and a football league, or a flag football league, I should say. And it's just more of a breakdown of what we found online. And from talking to folks about, you know, cost of shirts, refs, balls, insurance, renting the field. This is all implying that we'd be playing at Marvin Elementary School. This includes field rentals, and just miscellaneous things. And also at the bottom, it'll show potential revenue with some just hypothetical pricing, resident versus non-resident rate down there at the bottom.
So this is what you found, where again? Just online for different,
Yeah, just through separate pieces of research, just like T-shirts at a local screen printing joint, and then I talked to a guy who's kind of does the refereeing around town. He gave me that price, and Amazon for the ball, stuff like that.
We put this matrix together. We didn't just find it online. We had to.
Yeah, this isn't like peeled offline, like we found it and did it. I was just saying, like, that's where the research came from.
any comments, questions? I have
One thing
some
I'll just
things
mention real fast, just to kind of summarize it, is anytime there's a municipal, not anytime, but most often a municipal ran sports programming, you do run at a deficit. So, I mean, starting off, yes, we're going to have a lot more costs up front, really until we get our feet wet and kind of know what to expect in future years. But we would run at a deficit for probably a couple of years before we actually start learning it and figuring out how it's going to work and how we can effectively manage between the appropriate number of age groups, teams, that kind of stuff. So this is kind of something that we've thrown together. I mean, roughly you're looking at a $10,000 to $15,000 deficit to start off with, as we're projecting out. So we wanted to throw it at you guys to see if you wanted to continue to go down the programming aspect right now, if you want to kind of take a pause and focus on some other internal programming events, Part F if we're going to be doing that. But this is kind of what we wanted y'all to see if you wanted to keep going down that route.
So I would start off by saying, I understand we run at a deficit, but this is for the kids, and this is something that we we should already expect coming into it, but there's also, I know WCWAA, they do fundraisers all the time, and they kind of fill that gap that's in there. That's with any community. And I think there are many ways we can go about doing that, but we shouldn't look at it as being a deficit. This is an investment for the kids in the community, to keep those kids in our community, in Marvin. Again, when we start talking about things that we do different, that appeals to our neighbors right here, that are literally, I can cast a line to them, they're looking at us like, well, there's nothing you provide. You provide trash service. Well, this is one of those unique things that we can do, that those kids will be banging their parents and going, I would love to be a part of that. Well, son, we don't, or my daughter, we don't live in Marvin. Yeah, we do, because Marvin Village Hall is right there. We go to Marvin School. Well, these are one of the things, this is an investment into the community. When we want to grow the community, this is a diamond in the rough, because again, when you do Marvin Day, what attracts things to Marvin Day? How do you get parents? You go after the kids. Unfortunately, and I don't want to get on a tangent, but that's how things happen in the world today. They start, if you want to kind of get in the kids' heads and I don't know what the word I'm looking for, they do it at the school level. And that's where they start programming these kids. Well, we can start taking care of these kids here in this small investment. We can build up the deficit of fundraising and stuff like that. The band does it all the time, fundraisers for whatever.
So real quick, just so I'm clear, the fundraising, is that something that you would want staff to close that gap?
No, I think you got the community that can, you got parents that would step up on that. When you look at staffing, I look here, now, background checks, stuff like that, but you got parents that would love to volunteer and be a part of this stuff. And then you've got parents too that would, all you got to do is tap the right person and say, hey, let's do a fundraiser.
So in essence, we would give each team a goal to
Sure.
reach, and then just rely on them to make it happen.
Right. We're providing the venue and the concept behind it. But if you really want to get into some of these neighborhoods and annex, or not annex, but have them think twice about coming in, that's something you can do.
So I'd like to chime in on this a little bit, because Jonathan Thomas, who ran at one point for county commissioner, he put me in touch with a woman who, her husband, I think, is the top dog at WCWAA. So we had a long conversation. He connected us both. They had some land in Monroe that they were looking to expand. We talked about how their issues that they have there. She had some very good insight, and it's maybe someone I can put you in touch with so you can start the discussions. But doing it just through a community and trying to do what we're talking about is a cost that comes on to the community. That's it's a big cost. It's almost imperative that you do it as a public-private partnership, and you involve ourselves. So what I would like to do is, maybe, if it's okay, is give you this woman's name, Amy. Again, she had a lot to say. I actually had proposed to her to maybe get with some other municipalities to see if there's something that we can work with maybe another municipality if we're going to do something like that, and have it as a combination where it's a public-private partnership. Because for Marvin to do it on its own, the staffing, what it requires to get all of this, it's a significant cost. That could be something that we don't necessarily have the budget for, but if you're doing it as a public-private partnership, that may change it a little bit. So
real quick, just so I'm clear on that as well, if we're doing a public-private partnership, do you guys have anyone particularly in mind that you would want us to approach? And the reason I'm asking is, if we're talking about a May of '24 kind of implementation, we would have to either establish that agreement with that working group, and we would effectively want to have communication out by probably February to have applications back by March, April, so that we could do all the stuff behind the scenes to put the kind of the brackets in place, the teams in place, order the materials, so we're.
Yeah, I personally, I don't think we're there yet. I think we need to figure out if the public-private partnership is the way to go, because I'm not saying it is, but in talking to this person, knowing the business that they run as WCWAA and what they want, in fact, she even asked if we were interested in the property in Monroe, which I said no, but we had talked about other potential opportunities. I think it's just a good starting point to get the insight to saying, okay, how do we handle this? But to your question, I would say it would be certainly with someone who has done this before from a private entity, because they know they're going to run it like a business, and you have to run this like a business to make it be successful. I don't want to put it on the taxpayers to create something and it be just an empty.
Right. Well, I asked that question because if that's something that we're going to do for next year, we really need to get on that like yesterday. So I didn't know if y'all had anyone particularly in mind.
No, I don't, but I don't think that there's any way that we're going to be able to start anything in May.
I would agree.
I mean, I just don't think it's going to happen. This is going to take a while. This is not going to be let's go do it.
Okay.
I think
go ahead,
we
sorry.
don't stop moving the proverbial ball forward, but I think we should really shoot and aim for like a fall start, like a September start, gets everybody through the summer, end of the year. I'm not sure many people would do May and June just because it's into school, people are out of town. I think we should focus on fall, spring, but I think really aim for like a September start. Again, don't stop. Keep on pushing this,
And the other point I'd like to make, and for you, Tyler, to understand this, is that we were talking, I had mentioned a potential 30-some acres that may be available in the area of Marvin, and she flat out told me, that's not enough. You need at least 50 acres, is what she said, to make it to be a successful league-type thing. And again, towns are different with the amount of people they have, and would you pull in from other towns, Waxhaw, Weddington, all that sort of thing. But she clearly said that the 30-some acres that I was talking about was not enough. So it's just so you can get this under, if we created something, where would it be? We got to start with that first. So that's why I'm not even sure next fall works, because we don't even necessarily know if we have the opportunity to do it anywhere.
And I'll counter that really fast, because I think it all depends on what you want to do. If you want to do just baseball, 34 acres is probably plenty. If you want to add in, several football and baseball and swimming and pickleball, then you might be stretching it a little bit. So I think it's going to be dependent on what really the community wants.
And again, I was talking to the person who was in charge of the WCWAA and all that they do. It is baseball, it is soccer, a few other things, I believe, and stuff. So it's, it's limited, but it is.
By scale, they're what, 55 acres over there or something?
No, they're 34 acres.
One lot. There's two lots.
But half
Right.
of that one lot,
Is
they're 34
is a
acres.
flood
Half
zone.
of that 34 acres is a flood zone, so just go ahead and chop that in half.
Yeah,
So it's
'cause
really like 34 acres total.
That's why they went and purchased, they actually went and purchased the 50 acres in Monroe, thinking that they would be able to get actually, I'm sorry, they did get the permit for water and sewer, and now it doesn't necessarily, now that they want to sell it, it doesn't necessarily transfer. So now the issue with water and sewer at the county level, or what it was, it may not be a viable piece of property that can even be used. But because that permit that I think they paid $25,000 for it, is basically going to be a loss to them if they do sell that, because it won't transfer with it. So again, they were looking for 50 plus acres. They went out and purchased it, had the permits and are finding that it's, you know,
Have you thought about how you're gonna have signups? You're gonna have a web system where they can, interface and sign up stuff? But that's the only way you're going.
We haven't got that far into,
Well, that'd be something you need to think about, how much that would cost or
yeah,
be able to do.
yeah, that's a good,
And-
good
and-
question.
and I'd be happy to introduce you to her. Maybe we go to coffee and just kind of pick her brain about what, you know, or even maybe have some other
I think
people
that's a
from,
great next step.
yeah.
So I'm hearing a consensus, we're not planning on starting in spring of '24, but we'll keep the ball rolling in terms of having
Absolutely.
a conversation with your group. We'll also keep meeting with our work study with the multi-field, because they've got some really good input. We've got some really good ideas going and generating with that. Want to have another discussion with them at the next meeting in November, because we're wrapping up on some needs assessment recommendations that we'll bring back to you all in probably November or December. So we'll have that conversation. Would love to sit down with your representative from that entity and maybe have some more input, but we'll keep you posted on where we're going.
All right. Any other questions on that? All right, moving on, discussion on current Greenway Trail projects.
Okay, so first being, we did get an easement signed by Marvin Creek to connect the internal preserve trail with Marvin Creek's trail system there at Painted Turtle. So, and you guys just approved that quote on the consent agenda, so we will be authorizing Scott to potentially start working on that. The biggest thing that I wanted to discuss with you guys is Tullamore Phase 4. Tullamore Phase 4, the original intent was to connect the Tullamore Trail system with the Amber Meadows Trail. However, the two options of securing an easement, one through the Towns of Audrey property, and then two through Amber Meadows, they have about a 10-foot wide area in their common open space that we requested an easement through, have both been unsuccessful on getting easements to connect those trails. So staff's just looking for some guidance here on what council would like for us to do with Phase 4. The options really are we hold off on Phase 4 total, and where you just have Tullamore as a continuous loop from like Phase 1, 2, and 3, and then that ties in with their, I can pull this up just to see. Do this one.
Yes, a lot of tabs there.
So this one, like I said, Tullamore, everything in blue is pretty much complete, except it's complete up to where my pointer's at right here. So Phase 4 was originally to come this way, come down, and then tie into Amber Meadows here. So the options is that we hold off on Phase 4 completely. We can do Phase 4 and then have it dead end. We can do Phase 4 and then bring it up to Rocky Hollow and do one of two things at Rocky Hollow, which would be extending the sidewalk just where then it's not dumping you out on the road, or doing a crosswalk over to the sidewalk on the internal side. I have had conversations regarding the sidewalk connectivity or the crosswalk connectivity with Amber Meadows, and I think they would be willing to do either one. The sidewalk, if we extend the sidewalk, it is in the right of way, so we don't technically potentially need an easement from them. However, Amber Meadows is responsible per their maintenance agreement and everything with maintaining the sidewalk within their internal system, internal streets. So that would be then their sidewalk that they would be maintaining. But just kind of was looking for some guidance, because staff, from my opinion, we could bring it up to Rocky Hollow, do kind of like a trailhead, either, like I said, either a crosswalk or extending that sidewalk, and then we can continue working on trying to secure an easement in the long term, and then we would just basically go, like if we brought this pink line up, then basically we would just get a quote whenever an easement's secured to go back here and connect it into Amber Meadows.
Okay, I got questions. I got lots of questions here. No, go back.
Oh, sorry.
Go back. Okay, so the pink line,
Mm-hmm.
the pink highlighter at the bottom that attaches, that kind of connects to the blue highlighter.
Hold on one sec. I'll have to re-pull that up. Give me one sec. There you go.
Yep, okay, so the pink highlighter to the blue highlighter.
Mm-hmm.
The pink right there at that corner, that is in Tullamore,
Correct.
and we already have that easement.
Correct.
And do we have an easement that would run down to Rocky Hollow?
No, but I can reach out to Tanya. I don't think, I've already had preliminary conversations with her, and she's pretty much agreed to whatever works for us that we can sign. I have the signed easement agreement for her when we revised that pink line. I haven't recorded it yet. So essentially, if she's okay with it, I would just change out the exhibit.
Okay, so we could turn it and come down to Rocky Hollow, do a crosswalk over to the sidewalk. Okay.
Yeah,
The yellow highlighter in the top corner is the existing Amber Meadows Trail
correct.
that just dead ends into nothing.
Dead ends into nothing. It starts off of the sidewalk off of Tom Short. And I think it ties in, Wayne, doesn't it, isn't there like a little connection from your guys' retention pond? No?
Oh, yes.
It is?
Back up where the retention pond is, there's access from the subdivision.
Okay.
into that.
Okay, so the blue line was the requested easement from Amber Meadows that they told us no.
Correct. It's 25 feet off that side property line of that house. However, there is a retaining wall that was installed by Pulte. The retaining wall is within the common open space, and it's roughly 10 feet from, if your back's against the retaining wall, to the property line. We requested basically a 10-foot easement. Our trail's 4 foot wide, and we were going to keep the trail on the property line. Gary took it to the HOA board. The property owner there at 2068 was opposed.
Because,
The same issue that we always have anytime getting an easement. People think that our trails are just high traffic all the time.
so they do realize that it comes right up to the side of their house anyway. So I could basically do a really nice playground right there on that corner if I wanted to.
On Tullamore?
Yeah,
Where it ends.
sure, if I wanted to, and be right there in their side yard. I am sorry, but the fact that we
destination.
bent over backwards for Amber Meadows and they cannot give us this little bit of trail easement here is absolutely ridiculous. And it would help their neighborhood too, because it would then extend their trail and have a really nice loop for them to walk on. But, I mean, I will fully put something giant there. Maybe a neon flashing sign on that corner. We should absolutely have flashing signs there if we're gonna put a crosswalk there.
We would have to do signage, yes.
Okay, perfect. You
I
should-
mean, we would probably do the crosswalk
And that's all
signage.
in, and that's all in Tullamore's easement,
Well,
To be obtained easement,
to be obtained easement.
to do the L cut back in.
yeah, like I said, I can reach out to Tanya, basically just ask her if she's okay with this. If she is, then, like I said, I haven't recorded the signed easement agreement, because I'm gonna have these, if we do construct the trail, instead of like my little hand-drawn as the exhibit, I'm gonna have I've already got quotes from a surveyor to go to basically do a final as-built, so then we know the exact location of the trail, the exact location of the easement, so then there's no discrepancy in the future, once it's recorded.
Okay. Go ahead. I know you wanna say something, go ahead.
I was gonna say, the one on our, handout, on our computers, it does not show that other access. But it shows it going around the,
Sorry,
retention pond, where it makes that left, it comes back to the right and goes to that.
I have not walked that, so is there, right, so you got the red line going there, the pink line coming, and where it ends, where the blue line is the requested, they turned that down. What type of, is there any kind of fencing or anything?
There's a retention wall.
There's a retaining wall that,
How tall is the retaining wall?
it's about 8 to 10 feet.
So they're afraid somebody's gonna scale the wall and get in their yard?
No, they had, the pad was slippy. Pulte had to take and put that retention wall to keep it.
No, I'm saying these folks are scared that people are gonna scale the retention wall
Well,
up
it's
8
only
to 10
part of the way
feet?
than the rest of it.
It goes up to about half the
You can
house.
see it because the pad is bigger than what it says on paper. The pad is spread out, it's moved down.
That house is roughly, it's a 5 feet off that technically side property line. But you can kind of see the retaining wall right here. So it goes in the common open space, and so between right here and the property line itself is roughly about 10 feet. I did ask Scott for Blue Ridge Trail Works on, because one of the questions that I got from the HOA board was basically the disturbance, because they didn't want to have any, heavy machinery or anything around that retaining wall that could make a threat to the structural integrity of it. Scott said, I mean, the work that he does and stuff he would stay as far off that retaining wall as possible, once again, so we'd run basically the 4 feet along the property line, so it would be about 6 feet off the retaining wall. Or from a privacy standpoint, because if you go out there and walk it, if you put it closer to the retaining wall view, you can't see. Like somebody on the trail wouldn't be able to look up into the property and vice versa. There is some existing vegetation out there on this gentleman's property as well as just kind of in the common open space. We did discuss potentially, if granted, once again, we could see if Marsh or somebody could potentially plant some additional screening plants or trees. But all of that, like I said, led to an unsuccessful decision from the HOA board.
So, in my opinion, I think the HOA board, I don't think they're necessarily against this. I think it's just the homeowner they're trying to appease in that. So maybe a little more education for the homeowner is needed of what we're trying to accomplish here, and maybe we can.
He's aware. When we met out on site, Tyler, were you with me that day? Tyler, myself, and Scott walked it with Tanya and Gary. This was probably back in August. And the homeowner came out and we explained it to him, and, nice gentleman, but I think once again, it's the whole NIMBYism approach. I mean, we dealt with it with the Marvin Creek connector. It's just somebody is seeing something from an aerial or kind of out there, and we're trying to explain it to them, but it's just that fear of having a trail beside them.
But they're okay with it connecting to a sidewalk. So I can sidewalk all through their neighborhood if you want, but I can't do with a wall. I mean, why don't we put walls next to the sidewalk?
Trust me.
I think that's a legitimate solution. We put a wall that goes along the sidewalk that's about 6, 8 feet high, so you can't see anybody's house, because God forbid you can't break in, you can't do anything. You can go in their driveway. Let's put a gate up on everybody's driveway. I think the conversation should go, what will it take? Because the word I hate more than any word in the world is can't.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do this. Well, you can. What does it take to do this? And then we negotiate from there. But start off by saying the word can't is not going to be allowed in this dialogue.
And I agree, and that's why the option presenting is, if we bring it up and do like a trailhead there anyway, staff's going to continue working on trying to secure an easement through the two properties one way or another. Like I said, the towns of Audrey's had 3 different property managers, and for some reason, right when I finally start getting a conversation with one, it changes over. So, bringing it up to Rocky Hollow was kind of an interim solution. It would, like I said, then create a trailhead type fill where then somebody can access the trail there, because we can always come back and tee back in to connect it with Amber Meadows. There just might be, I would have to potentially discuss with Scott on the cost associated with that, because I believe the quote that was approved
So
is for the
if we
full
wanted to
connection.
put a trailhead there, and I wanted to go over and walk that, I could park right there.
It's a public park, it's a public street.
Perfect, and park right in front of the house.
So
Well, I think
talk to your
that's
neighbor.
where
Talk to your
the
neighbor,
dialogue
Wayne.
goes. You have to understand, okay, listen, we respect your decision on this stuff, but you have to respect where we're coming from, because then we talk about connectivity, and we don't have connectivity. But we have to do everything in our power to have connectivity, and we'll accommodate where possible. But when, just allowing them to say, one person to say no is,
Especially when we're looking
I
at it
just-
from the greater good.
I
when
just,
you're looking at it from the greater good, because what if
There's a
everybody did
tra-
that?
There is a sidewalk in front of that house, there is a road in front of that house, and there is a trail behind that house.
So this other
are y'all-
adjacent property is not in Marvin, is that the idea?
correct, yeah, this back parcel right here is the town of Audrey that,
Okay.
if you recall, the Pulte originally said they were giving us an easement, and I think that was where this intent kind of came from. Then Pulte was like, well, we'll let the HOA decide, and then like I said, it's just been a pain to get the property manager for the HOA to respond, set up something, whatever. And I know that Wayne, we tried to reach out to the HOA president. Apparently, then the HOA president disconnected his phone. I mean, it's just it's literally anything that could go wrong with trying to get this easement has. And I just don't think it's worth, in my opinion, if we do the trail, just to have it dead end. That's why it was either, do we hold off until we secure this, or do we bring it up in the interim as we keep working on the easement? Because basically Scott's ready to go, and that's what I'm just trying to get council's guidance on how we want to do this. If, like I said, if we want to hold off on that phase 4 in totality for the current moment, save those funds, or bring it up, and we'll continue working on these easements.
So we have exhausted all of our efforts to procure an easement that has connectivity at this point. So we're asking council, number one, do they want to just kill this project altogether? Do they want to dead end it? And it sounds like you guys are wanting us to focus on maybe requesting another easement from Amber Meadows to L it, and then maybe provide a trailhead and/or other amenities at said trailhead. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, we want to at least get the trail, get enough easement to get it to the street so that it can connect.
Right. If you pull up page 92, it's the image like this. Yeah. So the little patchy area that's right there, yeah. That's the area that you want to look at obtaining an easement from Tullamore and making potentially a trailhead in that area? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I want it right down that red property line, and I want to take out all that schmutz and put something giant right there with a giant spotlight on it.
Okay, so we can go back to Tullamore and request additional easement along that property line?
Yeah.
They're gonna get something they don't want.
Get it to the
Just-
road so
just-
that it's not a dead end.
Just see if you can
Okay.
secure the easement that'll get to the street.
Or you could, we could always just dead end it there and put park benches right there at the end of it and just encourage people to go hang out down there with all those cars that hang out in the corner down there. That's where they'll stay.
Yep.
And I'm saying this with all sincerity, I think before we do that, I think we need to have another conversation with the HOA and with that resident, because what we don't want to do, and I certainly don't want to do, I don't think anyone here wants to do, is do something to piss them off.
Yeah.
Because they were they were not being a willing participant in this thing, just saying no. So let's go back and say, okay, let me describe to you what no means from our standpoint. No means we're going to do this, it's going to be a trailhead, we're going to do this and this and this. We'll give you a chance to reconsider. Because I don't think that negotiation, from my standpoint, is done. And I don't want, I will more than happily go with you and get with Gary and get with anyone else on the HOA and meet with that resident and say, listen, I respect your decision, but you have to understand what that decision entails from our standpoint.
Was the, when you guys were out there, was the homeowner invited to that meeting, or did he just happen to come out?
He just happened to come out.
Okay, so there's where I think the first problem is we need to invite someone like that into this meeting, and to Jamie's point, you know, we're gonna do something, and in the end, it may not be a desirable outcome and give him the options, but him being out there or just happen to see you guys walking around wondering what you're doing there and then pitching it.
And let me phrase that. I did not invite him.
Guys, hold on, guys.
There could be a chance that Gary mentioned to him that we were meeting to discuss it that day.
Okay.
So,
okay. But not a formal invite from the village and
No.
stuff, okay.
Ultimately, I will say, though, it's the HOA's responsibility to make that decision, not the individual homeowner. We've had several instances, particularly in Tullamore, where they've had homeowners to oppose the same exact thing, and the HOA has come in and said, sorry, but we're going to do it anyway because it's for the betterment of the community. So we can do all we can to try to influence, but really the HOA should be the one
Yeah.
making that
But,
decision.
you know,
But if you can get the homeowners buy-in, that's better.
if the homeowners buy in, I would be curious if the homeowner would say yes and then the HOA would still say no?
No,
That would be interesting.
they wouldn't.
I don't think they would.
But we can have those conversations and report back to you in November or December, and invite Councilmember Line to the table.
Yeah, I'm open, Hunter, to, if you have a conversation with Gary or the homeowner or anyone else, just give me a heads up and I'll more than happy come in. Because I just think I think it's best for all of us.
I thought it was. Okay. We're good? Moving on. Boy, that was a long time to get through that. Next up, we have consider adoption of resolution to purchase fleet vehicle for Public Works Department. Getting a 3500 F-350.
He's passing around the specs for the proposal. I'll just mention, as our Public Works Department has grown, our guys have been utilizing the heck out of that truck that we purchased about 2 or 3 years ago. It's so much so that when Davey has errands to run or things to go out, he doesn't have a proper vehicle to go out. And so as we're kind of thinking 2 steps ahead, we're looking at getting something a little more bigger than what we've got now, to kind of plan for future growth. So I'll let him go over the details, but I did want to mention to you all that we did have a little bit more of funding in our ARPA capital projects because we took that $300,000 out that we were going to earmark for the entire park purchase, and we're taking that out of that discretionary funding that we obtained by the legislator. So we've got some funding in that's designated in ARPA for potentially this purchase, and I'll turn it over to Davey.
So yes, the Public Works Department currently consists of 2 full-time members and 5 part-time members. The truck that we have is utilized daily. We're very appreciative of it, and but on a daily basis, it's basically towing our lawn care equipment and our trailer around to locations to take care of. So it's tied up for most of every day of the week. But it serves us really well in our department. Looking in the future of what the Public Works Department may need a vehicle for, that's where we kind of landed on the size of the vehicle. I had reached out to the North Carolina procurement website, or I just researched it for the state contracts and bids for vehicles. And I reached out to multiple dealerships in different styles or models of, or makes really, of the truck. And this really got zero interest for whatever reason. No one sent me. I only had one dealership send me the option package for the truck. So not sure why they're not they weren't as interested as they should have been, but it could be some of the supply chain and the back ordering and all that. In saying that, an F-350, it is a size of truck that has many options that could benefit the Public Works Department currently and in the near future. If we're looking out in a 10-year window, which I would anticipate this would be a lifespan of this truck, it could be longer than that, but if you're looking at a 10-year window, the options that come with it would touch maintenance, buildings and grounds areas, safety as far as in our parks. Recently, we had a downed tree or a tree that had not hit the ground yet across the walking trail in Marvin Everett Park. We had to pull it down safely. It would have been a safer option with the winch system that would come with this truck. But when you look in the long-range version of street maintenance and responsibility of streets in inclement weather, this truck would provide the ability to haul heavier equipment, including water tanks or a brine tank that we could brine streets. If we do move forward with the GO bond and we take over more roadways, the responsibilities of those roadways are going to increase as well. This truck would allow us to address those. At some point in time, when you own roadways, you will have downed trees, and the responsibility of the village would be to make the roadways passable. So this truck would give the ability for a crew to climb in the truck together and head to that location and address, cut up, remove the wood in a safe manner. If you look at the options that I had temporarily selected of the ones that were sent, you've got 4-way LED flashing lights as well as a mini LED bar on top of the truck, which would light in a night operation. It would be very visible to oncoming traffic. Again, the winch system would allow the truck in inclement weather if it's off side of the road and we have to get back on it, winch ourselves out if we're stuck, and to address other safety issues that could be potential in our trail system as well as Marvin Everett Park. Outside of that, the only thing that really stands out is we've asked for a 4-wheel drive version with inclement weather and the long bed. The long bed gives us the opportunity to add a brine tank, 500-gallon or so brine tank, along with toolboxes and equipment and tools that you would need to put in the bed of the truck. So one thing that, one option with this truck is as we move forward 5-10 years from now, if we see a need for it as a flatbed dump truck, the cabin chassis is a perfect size. All you would need to do is you would just need a bed for it then at that point. So it could begin in the operation as we are anticipating now, and in later use become a flatbed version or a dump truck version. So you could not necessarily do that with a smaller size truck.
So I don't see, I know I had mentioned to you when I was kind of just doing some research on this about the snowplow preparation. I didn't see that on here. It's a $250 option, which would allow, if we decided to do that, it allows for a snowplow package to be purchased and put on the truck. I would think that would be a smart $250 purchase to add to this truck, just saying, in case we need to do that.
We could ask if that is an option from the factory. It was not listed on this option package, but it may be something that.
I mean, it's a factory thing. From when I was looking at Ford's website and building the truck, it was a Ford factory option. It gives it's a specific piece of framework that allows for addition to that. Without it, you wouldn't be able to mount.
So do you want us to amend the resolution to include that into the purchase costs?
Yeah, I mean, it's $250, so I would I would highly recommend that, because we just don't know what kind of weather we're gonna get. I mean, we've seen heavy snows here. It doesn't happen often, but if it does, we still have to be prepared for it.
We stay inside for a day, and then it dries by the end of the night, you're able to drive. But I almost said, where's the receiver? Because that's where we missed it last time. We bought a truck. We do have a hitch, which is good. Here's what I'd recommend, and I had the opportunity these last 4 weekends to rent from Enterprise, and I went from my 1,500 to a 2,500. Strongly recommend a couple things. Look at Ram, if you can, and I don't know if we have a contract with them. Ram has a completely different suspension. I was pulling trailers. There's a difference. Consider diesel. It's going to be much more fuel efficient and a stronger engine. And the other question that I had is, because I'm in favor of this, I think we're in need of this, but you have a different suspension on the two vehicles, what Ram has and what they have, and I drove both, pulling heavy trailers. And then the question is, would it be just parked at town, or would it be someone's personal use they would take back to home?
So we don't have a take-home use vehicle policy right now, so it would stay parked here.
Okay. But that's the only thing. I mean, I'm overall in favor of, yes, we need it. Yes, we need a heavier duty. I don't know if we're tied into Ford only. I personally have had, with my other Ford, 2,000 miles in, transmission went. I took it to the guy down here that doesn't. No.
Not
Three
all
transmissions.
Fords are bad.
Hold on a second. 3 transmissions I personally went through before it even reached 100,000 miles. Took it to the guy down here that does transmissions. He swore up and down Ram. Ram also got best rated pickup truck of the last 3 years. So it is what it is. I'm just saying that's my opinion. I don't mind sharing
Don't
it.
get a vote.
I will agree with Joe on the diesel. I do know that when I looked it up, that was a $10,000 add-on cost to go with the diesel. But longevity and fuel economy probably will offset that cost and make an advantage with the diesel. Diesels are way torquier, have way more pulling power, and they are heavier too. So in a four-wheel drive situation, that heavier diesel engine on that front axle will help, with traction and in that regard. So I myself have a lot of experience with Fords and the diesels. I have seen a lot of them with 300,000, 400,000, or 500,000 miles still running down the road. So I'm not going to discount, because I know that Cummins makes a great diesel engine. The Dodge truck is a great option. But I think that Ford is, I think there's really not much advantage between either one of them. I think what boils down to might be cost, who would be the cheaper option to go with. But I definitely would look at the diesel option.
So if council is okay with this, I'll go back and reach out to the Ram dealership again and get a quote for that style of truck, and I'll get a new quote for a diesel version with the scraping capabilities for Ford, and bring those back to you at the next meeting.
Yep. What's your time frame on this?
Soon,
I'm sorry.
soon.
Okay.
Soon.
Yeah,
As soon as we can.
I don't think, is anybody opposed to getting a new truck? Like, I think that's the first
An
question.
additional truck, yeah, not just a new one, additional.
Additional truck, yes.
Because we have one already.
The truck we have
A new
will-
additional truck.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a big deal. I mean, we're not trading in the existing one, correct?
no,
no,
I didn't
this
say
is
that, but
added.
it would be a new one.
Yeah, a new additional truck, yes.
Okay.
Anyway.
So nobody's opposed to that?
No.
Okay, that's their first question. So go back and find some additional quotes.
No, just it brings up a question, because you were talking about inclement weather and stuff like that. And I know we don't get a ton of snow, whatever, but we do have inclement weather as far as storms and stuff coming in. When a tree goes down across Marvin School Road, who's responsible for that?
DOT.
Getting that?
That's
DOT right now.
Right now, but if we take over the roads, then we're responsible for that.
Okay. because, I mean, again, I'm trying to build, when someone says, well, why would you need a truck?
Well, but
Well,
any of these neighborhoods that we do maintain those streets, if a tree goes down across one of those streets in a storm, we're responsible for removing that tree from that street. And we own 17 miles of road right now?
18-ish.
Right, so
18,
again,
so
the reason I'm asking this is just because there are gonna be people that are gonna say, why you need a truck? You don't need a truck. Do we have chainsaws and stuff like that? Are we prepared to take care of that? We have plenty of chainsaws, we have plenty of, binding to be able to pull those trees off and get those done?
Yes, sir, that's something we already had a chainsaw, in our system, but it's not large enough. So as we work through the budgetary, through the budget, we want to make sure we have a chainsaw
I would
long
say you
enough
have,
bar,
right.
but we've got all the safety equipment to go along with it, so
Right.
it's, it's hard to go from 0 to 60, with our needs, and so that's something we'll have to work.
I agree. I just want to put that out there for,
In the meantime, maybe have a backup as a tree service to be able to respond to it and take care of it for us if we're not ready for it.
unfortunately, some of these tree services are not close by, so, and they're gonna get hammered by everyone else reaching out to them. So we need to be prepared. If we've got
Sure.
18 miles of roads, you get 4 trees down, there's a lot of work involved in that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and
So
it's gotta
we
be
need
quick
the appropriate
response.
equipment. Yes, having the truck. Four-wheel drive, yes, having the chainsaws, the equipment to get that done.
And again, as we grow, and those responsibilities increase as well, we'll have some discussions on heavier equipment that we can operate in-house to remove that stuff rather than rely on contracted services. But that's on down the road a ways. This is just getting us off the ground, if you will.
But I'll mention too, I'll just add, it's not just removing trees and that's the need. We have several times where just this week, we were relying on you all to use your own personal vehicles for minor projects that we've got going on. So we've always got projects upon projects going on, and the way it is right now, we can't effectively have 2 different projects going on because we can't have the crews being separated, so.
Relying on personal vehicles and. Agree. So, okay, so we're good?
Yes, sir. I'll have that for you at the next meeting.
Perfect. Any other questions? Moving on, discussion of event communications and advertising expectations.
We already talked about it.
Yeah, we kind of knocked all that out in communications.
Oh, okay. Open topics.
Okay, I have 2.
Oh.
One, the Pocket Park at Publix was not on the agenda. It should have been on the agenda. I'm tired of talking about this frickin' Pocket Park.
We were waiting for the PRG meeting to happen.
Yeah, we were instructed to wait till PRG.
Why?
back on.
Parks Rec and Greenway said, put mulch down. They're not gonna come back with anything else. That's their recommendation. We were supposed to come up with some ideas of what we were doing there. Parks Rec and Greenway, that is their recommendation. They wanna mulch it and put trees in.
Didn't we say that we were entertaining selling it, and there was
We did,
staff
there's a
was
deed
supposed to get
restriction on it.
some-
Hunter checked it.
Okay.
Remember Davey brought that quote back for mulch? And it
Yeah,
was
I remember.
astronomical.
And then after that, I said, I'm tired of talking about this blessed Pocket Park, and said, we need to come up with some ideas. And I was like, I'll sell it. And Hunter said, well, let me see, there may be a deed restriction. There's a deed restriction on it.
There was an idea that, it may have been Joe that said it, somebody said it, about doing something along the lines of recreation over there, possibly pickleball,
Yep.
which could possibly be a good use for that space.
I
There
think-
is parking, and it is.
Who's gonna regulate that? Everybody and their brother that drives by that's not in Marvin, no, I mean, he can't, I mean, what are we gonna do, lock it up and we're gonna have a sign-up genius for people to use it?
So
You could do a QR code that if they reserve the spot and they have it, they can get in there and unlock the lock
I
to
mean,
allow them to play.
building pickleball courts over there is $100,000+. Tennis courts is $100,000. I mean, it is a significant, it is a lot more than $7,000 worth
Okay,
of mulch.
I'm just saying that that was a suggestion. Now, there could be other recreational opportunities there. I mean, we've talked about a park, but what about some kind of other recreational facility? Maybe not pickleball, maybe something cheaper, but is there something that we could do that might be more useful to the community than just a park?
I don't know, this is what we were supposed to come back and talk to.
So
We were supposed to have suggestions.
We've discussed something at a staff level that we'd like to sit down and talk to y'all individually with, maybe have some 2x2 meetings this week, if we can just kind of put a pin in it.
Week, it's Thursday, you guys don't come in tomorrow.
Or next week, I'm sorry. If y'all don't mind, we can have a discussion individually, and then we can come back after the PRG meeting, if that's okay with you all.
I'm open to anything that we can do if we can just get something, done with this. Because again, just like Kim has said, I'm sick and tired of talking about this. And we've got to figure out something that's going to be a viable use for this space.
Okay, next week.
Yeah.
Hunter and I will get together.
Okay, my second thing is, I've had multiple complaints about the Southern Spirit sign on Ray Road. It is now term limits on one side and Charlotte's largest candy store on the other side. Christina, you said you've talked to state reps about it. Like it is obnoxious at this point.
Yeah, and I'm gonna turn it over to Hunter real quick, because he's got we had a lot of complaints about it last year. We went through a lot of process of trying to get it removed, and he can update you as to what we did, what our accomplishments were. It's not in Marvin, so we don't have any jurisdiction whatsoever. We tried to go through Union County to get it addressed. They wouldn't do anything. I believe we may have went to DOT, but I think it's outside of the right-of-way. So I'm gonna let Hunter update you on.
In unincorporated Union County, outside of the DOT right-of-way.
Yes.
Who owns the sign?
The lady that runs the nurse daycare. Her strip runs right down.
But does she own the sign?
It's on her property.
And we fought
But
for
we
her
don't-
to
but we-
not get a tower put in there, right?
Right.
In
Okay, go ahead,
short,
Hunter.
that original sign itself, like the post, was originally for Longview. It's outside of DOT right away, because last year when all this, came up and it got put up, I reached out to DOT to see if it was a, issue with either line of sight or encroaching on the sidewalk. It's outside of right away, DOT couldn't do anything. I then submitted a code enforcement complaint to Union County on two different things. One, at that time too, was the vegetation growing up around it was a nuisance, but as well as the signage itself. Chuck Holt, who's the code enforcement compliance officer for the county, said that they received several complaints about the sign. He said the law is changing about off-premise signs, but right now we were revised by our legal department to drop the sign violation. I can follow up because I'm not sure what he meant by the law is changing. Even if the law changed, I'm not sure, because of nonconformities and the quote-unquote grandfathering clause type stuff, if they can then go issue a violation now because it was pre-existing prior to the ordinance changing on it. But in short, I remember having a phone conversation with him. They didn't have any regulations on off-premise, like advertising signage per se, which I thought was interesting, because at that size and stuff, I would think it's not like it's a, hey, mattress for sale, or we put up Christmas lights type sign. It's a sign that you are hanging. It's a ground-mounted sign. So I was surprised that a permit wasn't needed for that. But in short, that they couldn't do anything at the time, and from a planning standpoint, I don't know legally if they would be able to, even if they change the ordinance now.
If they are going to issue a violation, who are they issuing it to?
They'd be issuing it to the property owner, to my
Who
knowledge.
is the property owner?
It's the,
I just want to know who the property owner is.
BCC Real Estate LLC, per the tax card.
Do we have contact information for that?
I mean,
LLC?
I looked up I've got a mailing address, and I looked up on the state LLC website, and
I mean, I'll pay more to advertise for Marvin there. I mean, it is so obnoxious. It was obnoxious before. It is ridiculously obnoxious right now. Political, ideology on there, whether you agree with it or you don't. And then on the other side, Charlotte's largest candy store, it's not even in Charlotte. It's in South Carolina, for the love of God. It is obnoxious. And whoever owns Southern Spirits, you guys know him, call him and be like, what are you doing?
Bottom line is, it's not in Marvin, and it's not our purview to do anything about it. It's in unincorporated Union County. If the
All
public is
towns
upset
end
about it,
somewhere.
then they need to go to the people that have the sign.
It is at the gateway of Marvin.
Get it, but there's nothing we
I know
can
we
do.
can't do
let's-
anything about it,
let's-
but like,
I say the first step is to get in contact with the person that actually owns it, because they may have sold that to Southern Spirits for $500 a year. And then at that point, we go, okay, we can make decisions from there, because, and then give them a compelling argument that it shouldn't be that. It could be Gateway to Marvin. It could be whatever, but it can't be that. I totally agree with you. There's nothing, but it is, because it's so close to Marvin, I think it's incumbent upon us to reach out to them and just say, we'd like to have a discussion around your signboard, and start from there.
Hunter, can you try to facilitate that?
I don't disagree with you.
Facilitate.
I mean,
I just sent you an email with the
you know what I mean?
contact
It's
of the
like-
owner.
Because I've had many people say something to me like, dude, who does that sign out there? And I'm going, it's not Marvin.
What are you directing staff to do at this point?
Contact the owner to see if they will just give us a contact person that we can reach out to have a dialogue regarding the sign.
I think you just sent that, right?
No, it's just, there's, the name of it's not on here. It's just the
It's-
Secretary of State's.
Did it not go directly to it?
No.
In short, if you go to the Secretary of State website and you search BCC LLC or the
I literally
BBCC,
don't know what the words that are coming out of your mouth are.
okay, I will,
Is the telephone number listed on the?
it's not a telephone, it's a
Are
mailing
you
address.
saying BCC?
B,
B as in boy, CC,
yep,
LLC?
Real Estate LLC, yes.
The more people call them and everything else,
But the telephone's not on the registration. Is that what you're saying?
because he said,
I don't think so, no.
Hold on, BCC Real Estate?
Yep, I'm sending it to you.
I agree.
So if it's not on the registration, I don't know how we can get the telephone number, unfortunately.
Somebody contacted the company that owns this.
The
The registered agent, Tunde. Looks like they also own Valentine Child Care Corporation. They live at Skipaway, which isn't Skipaway in, Providence Downs?
yeah, where she lives.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's their address. They live on Skipaway. Okay. Council will work on it.
All right. We good? Moving on. Review of action items. What we
Okay.
got?
Let me scroll back through my list here. Just give me 1 second.
I got it, Austin. So we'll contact DOT and get the Bonds Grove, Waxhaw, Marvin plans to incorporate the lighting plan, the sleeves for irrigation in the appropriate direction, or at least to review the plans before it goes out for bid. We'll start Union Power on working on the easements for the lights and also ask for the pedestrian crosswalk cutouts. Check on the Bonds Grove, Waxhaw, Marvin intersection recommendations from DOT. We'll also reach out to Union County and Waxhaw to see if they're interested in partnering on some type of remediation effort on that. We will set aside a low priority for the bamboo project, do a budget amendment for the 1K rental amendment that's needed. And in-house, we are going to be working on the irrigation. No, I already said that was in my manager's report. And then arrange the food for the holiday appreciation dinner on 12/14, 6:30 p.m. We'll also get the signs implemented on Marvin School, Waxhaw Marvin, as they come in. We will prepare a budget amendment for the old meadowlark plantings and wait for the spring to plant those. I'll check with DOT on the school time signs to be enforced, getting those signs implemented so that they can enforce the speeding there. And we will continue to focus on the youth soccer and football programming with a meeting scheduled from Joe's contact. We will also be working on a contingency agreement with McAdams and a staff plan at the November or December meeting. We will also get back with Amber Meadows and Tullamore on Tullamore Phase 4 and try to come up with some resolutions on obtaining an easement and whatever that means. We will proceed with the weather vane and the Marvin Eford Park repairs. I will send you all some examples of a strategic plan, and then we will have some two-by-two meetings regarding pocket park ideas.
Davy's also going back to get a new quote for the truck.
Yep.
And we have, you guys are working on the Southern Spirit sign.
Yep, we're working on it now.
All right.
I'm ready.
Okay, you ready? All right, my list.
Do the mayor pro tem.
Ready?
Pro tem.
That's right. All right. Have we heard back from the Chimneys on any annexation? Because we're really going to have to start working on that to get them to sign off on the letter.
So, Christina, do you want to explain the latest update with the Chimneys?
They have, I'm not sure if they've obtained representation, but I've had an attorney to contact me and ask me some questions. So me and the attorney have been going back and forth. We just had some correspondence yesterday. So that's really the update.
Okay.
Do you want to take off the towns at Ardrey Park?
Nope. No, because I still want to follow up with them and try to get that parkland. Wi-Fi quotes, Christina.
Davy's working on that. It's been a process, but we're narrowing down on getting a quote.
I thought Mike was doing it.
Mike was doing it, and it's got turned over to Davy because the quotes came in. The Spectrum quotes came in at, don't quote me on this, but it was still around the $10,000 mark, so we're still going back to the drawing board to get some more options.
Okay. All right, Davy has confirmed installation locations. You can complete that for the radar signs. Tyler has completed the timelines for facility rentals. You can complete that. We're going to leave the roundabout lighting and landscape on there. You can complete the deed restrictions on the Pocket Park because we know that there is one. Okay, I'm done.
Moving on, council comments.
Smack Bob in the head.
Jeez, you guys with your
I said I went to Andy last night.
body
Check the
Yeah.
records.
We can only have two Italians.
I know, jeez.
I want to thank the staff and the deputies for their help. And definitely, we talked to him last night and got all the information we needed or didn't need. So, the only two I have right now. Oh, I wanted to thank the council for everybody being here this morning. Several people had difficulties.
Getting here?
Yeah, on time.
Well,
Oh, there was traffic.
Well, the roundabout was closed. Joe's still taking the detour.
no, I had.
Nope, I don't care. Keep going. We got trees to decorate, lunch to have. People can't leave.
Big thanks to staff for the presentation on town hall meeting. Y'all did a great job on that, as you always do. You far exceed. I think we had a fairly good turnout. We certainly hope it was a lot better. Also, big thanks to Christina for taking care of the mirrors in the men's bathroom.
Oh, were they done?
They are
I
done.
don't go in there, so I don't know.
They are done. Yeah, so, and then, again, Tommy and Ed do a great job. I saw Tommy down there. I've seen him actually a couple times, or Ed, doing Rex, doing the Rex stuff, but they do a job we wouldn't do, so, and it's not getting any better for them. So thanks for what they do. Tell them to be safe, and that's what I got.
Well, I want to thank NCDOT and their contractors for finally getting our roundabout done. And, they did a great job with it. It's doing what it's intended to do, and it looks good. So I just want to thank them for the efforts of getting it done and looking forward to the next one. So that's all I've got.
Just to remind everybody that it is election time, and you have a civic right and duty to exercise your right. So just remind everybody, don't let this pass, by you. It's November 7th. It's on a Tuesday, correct? It's November 7th? Early voting is going on right now, so just to remind the public.
Thank you. Kim?
Want to make sure that everybody remembers the trick-or-treat event tomorrow night at the park at 5 o'clock. Don't forget. Thank you to staff for the great town hall meeting. You guys did an awesome job. I was very happy with the turnout that we have. Hopefully next time we'll have even more. I think it was the construction trucks on there that did it. I think that people thought that. So maybe next time, bigger construction trucks on there. I think
Our consultant found that a very interesting request for the ads. We had a lot of giggles.
that's the most people we've had. So I think it worked. And there was quite a few people listening at home. So I think that was a really good turnout. So thank you for that. Don't forget, election season is currently going on. Please get out and vote. And for council, don't forget to sign your waiver today for the tree decorating. And do not leave until the tree is decorated.
I thought it was for out there when Andy and I were working.
Nope.
Yeah,
Thank
too late
you.
for that.
Yeah, that's why I thought I was going backwards, but I got to change the date. All right,
That's
you
it.
done?
Done.
All right, thank you. Obviously, thanks staff. You guys knocked it out of the park for the town hall. So we appreciate that. But I'm going to go one step further and thank council for today's meeting. I thought it was a very good discussion, specifically on McAdams and the Part F grant. And we had the discussion there, so I appreciate that. A couple notes. The Christmas parade's coming up. They're after me again. Monroe Christmas Parade is on Sunday, November 19th. Waxhaw, which is one of my favorites, they do a really nice job on Christmas parades, and the reason I know is a lot of times we're in those with the band. That's on December 10th, Sunday. Conflicting with the Halloween is the high school football. It's senior night, and it's also the first time we'll have our full show, or our show being shown with the props and all that, which is great. Town Hall was encouraging to see more people. I really appreciated that and appreciated all those who took the time. In fact, there was a gentleman who stopped me after the meeting wondering when the next one was because he wasn't able to attend it. We also got a chance, I think Kim and I, for a short bit, talked to Mr. Fincher, who's a landowner in here, and I'd encourage you, anytime you have the opportunity to meet with these landowners, especially in the Heritage District, spend some time with them. You learn a lot. They've got a lot of history. I didn't know the pecan trees that was taken down by DOT when they did this improvements here. They took down some good trees, and then we're also being, what was it, Bradley pear? Tree? Bradford pear tree is more of an invasive type of species. So we're learning a lot just sitting outside chatting with him after. Reminder, WUMA is this afternoon at Stallings, so we'll be with Stallings. So we'll be with a couple other municipalities. I think, Andy, you're planning on being there. And then the only thing I question is, before I go any further, Andy, thank you for the time you spent out and around getting that. It saves the village money. You and I worked together a full day. What I thought was going to be 4 hours ended up being 10 hours. But
How much stuff did you guys break?
only one thing.
Good.
It's just good, so.
Better.
And then the only thing that I was on a walk the other night, and there was a car in our neighborhood that was racing up and down, and I happened to see Ed earlier at a bike, at another incident, and so I knew he was on duty, so I called him. I'd be curious to find out, and maybe this is a question when our law enforcement's here, is do we have jurisdiction? Because there was clearly a vehicle that was running around, racing up his engine to the point where neighbors were coming out trying to get the license plate. I did get the license plate because the guy came back and I tried to flag him down, but he kept going. But they pulled it up, it was a Charlotte address. So I don't know if we have jurisdiction to do anything, he just was. Yeah, I know. Well, it just, it's good to know that Ed was right on it. Just, we appreciate what those guys do and stuff, but just a simple phone call to them. He ran the tags and mentioned that, but, appreciate what the law enforcement does. And with that, I am not going into closed session, correct? I'll need an adjournment and have fun decorating the tree.
So moved.
All's in favor? All's in favor?
Aye. You're decorating the tree too there, Bubba.
Yeah, I'm gonna point. I'm gonna watch.
Lisa's not as tall.